gets the people going.
He's trying to be a hype man.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's working out that good.
It hypes myself up, kind
I
of.
forgot my phone yesterday, and it caused a giant cascade of problems. I had like 36 text messages on there.
Mhm.
36.
Specificity.
That's what this podcast... Today's podcast is going to be about specificity.
Oh,
And we're going to have to clean these microphones off when we're done, because specificity is very important.
Yeah, spitting.
Good thing that
Spit everywhere.
the covers on them can soak up a lot of that spit.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. This thing is so big and thick.
Yeah.
You got to watch out for that.
I've never heard that before. Yo.
I never heard that before, that's for sure. Yeah. Andy Bell can't throw me a goddamn crumb. I'm going to at least lie about it. Okay, I'm sure you've seen bigger ones, but come on. You know?
But she hasn't seen smaller ones.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I got something in this fight that's the best or the worst, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Just help me out here. I just need a little encouragement.
Yeah. Mark, did you know that we have a girl on the show right now?
We do. I'm aware of that.
All right. Just making sure.
And she's so tall. Why are you so tall, Jessica Smith?
My parents.
Oh.
Quick.
It's that simple.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that was easy.
My uncle's like 6'8".
And your dad is known for like really being able to lay some huge farts.
And poops, for sure.
Oh, so both.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have like
I guess he did share he shared a poop story with me.
the college one.
Yeah. That was an epic poop story.
Can you reshare it? Because I didn't hear
Yeah.
it.
So basically what happened was
Here we go.
my dad had moved into the dorms.
I hope
when
he's not watching.
I bet he's watching.
He would not be embarrassed. He'd be proud, right?
Right.
Yeah, I may get some details wrong. I'm sorry, Dad. I'll do my best.
I love that you know the story. Like, is this like family lore? Like everybody knows?
He was like, "Do you think this is a good story to tell Mark?" And I was like,
You're like, it's excellent.
he always
guys.
does that. Yeah.
It's on the family crest, like the whole story.
Like a poop knife. A family poop knife.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I get it.
Do you know what that is?
No,
No.
but it sounds lucrative.
Basically, it's like if you take too big of a poop, that won't
Oh,
get
yeah,
flushed
cut it in
down. You have to cut it
okay.
in half.
Right.
So it's a poop
Yeah,
knife.
the Titanic. My brother did that when I was young. That's what we called it, the Titanic. And we had to cut it in half with the plunger.
But then it gets all over the plunger.
I know.
So you get like a coat hanger, like a wire coat hanger.
Of course.
That's what your dad did, right? He did a coat hanger.
I think so. I think it was a coat hanger. Oh God, that's where I got it from.
Chop the poop in half.
So he was in the dorms,
Mm-hmm.
and he was new, you know. So
Young. So young.
yeah,
So
college.
powerful.
So much potential.
Yeah.
So he's in there doing his business, and he lays this massive shit, and it's super long. He said it's like a baby's arm, or from end, from stern to end or whatever. It takes up the whole toilet. And he was like, "Wow, this is beautiful. I have to leave this for other people to experience."
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't even attempt to flush it.
That's great.
He literally just leaves it in the toilet. So then, a few days later,
Oh.
he hears some people talking. They're like, I think that new guy left something in the bathroom.
Oh.
And I overheard the janitor ladies saying they're not going to fucking touch it.
Oh.
So he goes back in and he checks it out. And this thing has tripled in size. From the water.
It's like the snake
it's-
that you buy for the kids that you put water on.
It's
it.
like
Yeah,
that little
yeah.
pill that you put and
Right.
then it transforms.
Expands.
It got waterlogged.
Turns into a giant dinosaur.
It transformed into a dinosaur.
Fucking Loch Ness.
And
Yeah. I wonder what was in his
it took
poop.
him a few. Well, have you seen my father?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Insert
Big dude.
picture here.
I'll
Yeah.
find one.
Yeah.
He's a big dude, so I would imagine, yeah, big logs.
Yeah, massive. Anyway, it took him a few times.
That's how I got expelled from college.
Something like that.
Is that what happened?
That's when he left and then made you? Or was this way before?
There's a lot of inserts
Mhm.
in that
A lot of things that happen.
before.
Gotcha.
Jessica Smith, how'd you get here? How'd you end up here? Not necessarily on the podcast, but how did you end up powerlifting?
So,
Explain the story to us. What happened?
it
How'd you get suckered into all this?
started when I was 5.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was believing you already. I was like, damn, that's awesome.
No.
Okay.
You're on a boat and you were with your uncle and he did something inappropriate?
Think again.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
So I'm in college, right?
Oh, sorry.
I know. Blonde in college. What are we doing? I'm rowing.
Legally blonde.
Right. Rowing for Sac State. So CSUS rowing crew. If anyone knows what that is. On a boat.
I don't know what that is.
I'm on a boat.
Oh.
I'm rowing. I do it
Not
for...
a Concept 2 rowing team.
We did do our tests on that thing.
Oh.
Which I was really good at.
I've seen you before. You're amazing at it.
Yeah. Anyway, had a passion for it. Graduated college. Was done rowing. Rowing's kind of an expensive sport to follow. So unless you're doing something and that's your whole life, then it's really not worth it. So I move on. I get a job. I'm like, man, I have this thing that I used to do all the time that I loved. Like, I don't have that anymore. So I had like a void. I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, let's try lifting. So
Did you at that time did you gain some weight because you were very active? Like rowing, I'm sure takes a lot of energy.
So initially I didn't actually gain a whole bunch of weight because I used to. Oh, Smokey.
Smokey was peeking in.
So actually I didn't gain a bunch of weight after rowing initially. I guess I was still lifting, but I was lifting at the school gym. So that was cool. But I
just
had
doing some stuff some coaches taught you, maybe like in high school and college.
and in college and stuff. So I did stuff like that. I didn't gain a bunch of weight actually until I basically stopped going to the gym altogether. I was really unhappy because I hated my job at the time. I was selling alcohol for a huge distributor.
Were you paying attention to like diet back then too?
No, so a lot of my job was driving around in the car. I would literally commute. My whole day was a commute. I would drive from store to store to store, doing my thing. And
Were you kind of like a sales rep?
Yeah, I was a sales rep. Not that I hate sales. Like, I mean, I'm kind of doing sales now, but it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of also in the same situation where I was very few females in that market, really. When I moved over to general market, I was the only chick.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that make it like kind of harder?
Yeah, you gotta try and shoot the shit, and then when you've met me.
We have a good amount of females that actually work for Slingshot, but we don't have that many like in the gym. Yeah, in the actual gym.
Yeah, so me, I'm not like the most appropriate person, but I'm appropriate enough for work.
Yeah, you're a little bit like hanging out with the dudes.
Yeah, and so I would do that, and people find it very odd. Half the stuff that would come out of my mouth. I'm like, you know what? If this came out of your mouth, you wouldn't even blink an eye.
Oh, I see. Double standard going on.
A little bit. So I just was unhappy, started gaining weight, wasn't paying attention. I would say most of it wasn't paying attention. And then I hurt myself. I hurt my back because I was doing a bunch of lifting. I was lifting cases of wine and cases of liquor and vodka, all that shit. And so I was in a lot of pain. I could barely walk. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something about this. So I ended up joining Midtown Strength and Conditioning here in Sacramento.
That's where super training used to be.
Yep.
But while you were there, it wasn't there anymore.
Yep. When I was there, it was not there. The only person that was there from ST was Mike.
Yeah, Silent Mike was coaching people.
Yeah. So this gym is cool because it has Olympic lifting, CrossFit, or at the time it was strength and conditioning classes. So you do Olympic lifting. You could do just normal, original, like what would you consider like fitness stuff?
Right. CrossFit-y style stuff.
Yeah, conditioning stuff.
Right.
Normal. And then there was also a powerlifting class every Monday, Wednesday, or something like that. Cool. And I was like, man, that looks interesting. And I used to watch from afar. I would go in the other room and do Olympic lifting, and I would stare at it. And I'm like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. Because this Olympic lifting it's fucking hard.
Yeah, it hurts, and it's not easy to learn.
Yeah, and I'm not super flexible. So at the time, anyway, so I was trying to figure it out. I was like, you know what? One day I'm just gonna go over there, and I did. And then Silent Mike was my first ever powerlifting coach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. then I watched Marcus and Silent Mike and Austin Baumgartner. Watched them compete in the meet that was at Midtown.
The
in
USAPL
December.
meet, yep.
Yep, December 5th.
I remember.
Yeah, I was there. I saw you. I didn't know you though. And then I was like, after that, I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do a meet. So then I think I ended up doing I did a USAPL meet like 2 months or 3 months later in Midtown as well.
Oh, cool.
And then Mike was leaving Midtown. He was going to stop coaching because he was doing a lot more stuff, traveling, and he couldn't commit enough time.
Right.
So he felt bad, and he was like, I can't continue to hold a class if I can't be here. So he's like, I'm going to stop coming, but you guys are more than welcome to come with me to super training and train with me on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So he took me, Tiava, and Evan. And they were the 3 ladies of ST that would come and we would join. Yeah, that's how I showed up.
Oh my God, that's how I ended up here. And like there was that video from forever ago where I'm like filming, and back then I had some camera crew here and there, but didn't always have everybody filming every workout. We didn't have the media team that we have. We didn't have the staff that we have now. And I also remember, like, even before then, like, getting into small conversations with you. I remember just seeing you coming into the gym, and, like, I just, for whatever reason, I just immediately thought that you would fit perfectly with Slingshot and what we were trying to do. It was just kind of like a sense, even without having a lot of discussion with you. But after talking to you a little bit, I was like, yeah, I'm like, man, she seems really perfect. And I know you had another job, so I was like, I'm not really sure how to even, like, approach this, but I'm just going to do it anyway. But there's that video where I'm filming and I'm going around the gym and I point the camera over at you, and you're like, I'm like, what are you doing?
You're like, what's going on over here?
Yeah. And you're like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out my life right now. And then it just kind of goes on, and, the YouTube comments poured in. People were commenting on it and making funny jokes to it and references. But, I remember you saying that, and I remember you just kind of like throwing it out there, but I was like, I actually kind of think that she's halfway serious. I actually think that, like, there's something there. And then that's when I approached you about working here and possibly meeting with Andy. And I think I approached it as, it doesn't hurt to, like, just do an interview just to see. And then you can kind of see if it seems like something that would fit for you, and we can go from there.
Yeah, he poached me for like 3 months.
Yeah.
I think it was like a little while after that first video or whatever. And then you brought it up super cash.
Whoa. That's my coffee.
You brought it up super casually. So I was like, is this guy serious right now? He's just offering me a job, just like, whatever.
I do that a lot.
I've noticed.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I just, like with T, I texted him a couple times and said, this is Mark Bell and I want to hire you. And he did that video for O'Hearn in Los Angeles. I got his info from O'Hearn, and I just hit him up right away. I was like, you do great work. I want to hire you. And he's like, what the hell? And he's confused. And I called him and I said, come work for me and I'll change your life. It'll be awesome. And he was like, you don't need to convince me, man. He's like, I'll come out there tomorrow. And then, Andy was kind of like the voice of reason. She said, let's slow down a little bit and let's make sure everything makes sense. But, it's kind of the same thing with you. I had a sense that I was like, oh, this is somebody that's young, somebody that will help me a lot with a lot of the things that I need to get done, and will help me grow in more ways than one. And then also I can help, like, probably mentor her if you needed mentoring. But I felt like, this would be great for us to get together on some level. And so, I poached you for a long time. And then you had a meeting with Andy, right?
I met with Emma first.
Oh.
I had an interview with Emma, which really wasn't an interview. It was super just cash, relax. I brought my resume. I looked kind of nice. And then we sat down and she was like, yeah, I think this would be perfect. But, like, what are you comfortable with? And I was like, well, to be honest, I'm not really sure what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, just speaking with Emma, she was really relaxed and had a good energy.
Right.
And then she was like, all right, I'm going to talk to Andy. And then I ended up having a phone call with Andy.
Andy Pandy.
Yep. Mark has this habit of if there's an energy of a person that he really likes, he's like, I gotta hold on to him. So he just like kind of you come with me, you know?
Yep.
He does that all the time. Like not just with me, but I've watched you do it with a lot of people.
Yeah, I try to do that because I think we all could use help, you know, and I have had many moments in my life where I was lost. Like I've shared this many times on the podcast. I didn't know what I was doing until I was probably, you know, like 32, somewhere between like 32 and 35. I started kind of figuring out like where I fit into this world, and really, you know, now looking back on it, I still don't know if I figured it out. Like I'm still working on it, you know. But obviously, I feel a lot more comfortable now than before. Like I created the slingshot, and created this business, and a lot of things like that. And I feel like I'm in a good position when I see somebody. I'm like, man, that's a cool person. Like I want to know that person more. Like that's a like a good soul. You know, I think I can recognize a good soul, and then I can say, okay, well, with this soul, not only can I do something with this person like yourself, I can help you grow, help you mature, and help you I think I could help you in life in general. You can make better decisions for yourself down the road. Who knows how long you'll be with Slingshot, or who knows how long you'll desire to stay here. Maybe you'll work here forever, and maybe you won't.
Yeah.
But whatever it is that even if you do move on from here, you know, it'll be, you know, a positive experience. That's what I'm hoping. It'll be a positive experience that will help you with the rest of your life. And the interactions that you've had with all the people in here could potentially help you with a future relationship or future job. Who knows? You know, and that's kind of the goal and the objective, and part of the reason why I do that. And even for people that aren't just employees, you know, just people that are just floating around in the gym out there. You know, it's important to share yourself with people, and so that's a big reason why I do that. When you were transitioning from your job to this job, what has been kind of the biggest difference? You said you really weren't happy with the other job. Like, why? I guess let's start out with maybe why do you think you were unhappy?
I just think that the company didn't really match up. Like their set of, I don't know, I guess their mission statement. But like the way it ran, it just didn't really match up with me.
Right.
It didn't match up with my set of morals or work ethic.
Were they maybe like just more like business oriented, kind of straightforward?
No, I wouldn't even say that. I just think that they didn't put their employees first. They put money first.
Oh.
Which is really pisses me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, all these people are out here really hustling. Like, this isn't like a pretty, like, we make things look nice. We make things look cool. But you're out there, you're fucking working. You're sweating. You're in straight business clothes and you're sweating.
Right.
It is disgusting. And also, I can't tell you how many times I've like choked myself with like a scarf and some bottles of wine.
Jeez.
Like, it is wild, and we're out there busting our ass, but we're on low on the totem pole. So it's the rollover. I mean, it's just so fast.
Was it like your compensation based off of like what you sold or whatever?
Not necessarily that. They didn't, because we were so low on the totem pole. They didn't really do that for us too much.
Oh, okay.
Even if we did do really well.
So if you're crushing it, it still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Stuck on the road for 13 hours.
It was like
day.
Big Brother's watching. We had trackers.
Yeah.
I used to have that too.
Yeah.
A lot of companies do stuff like that's crazy. A lot of companies do stuff like that because they recognize like, oh, we can hire people that are really young, and we can kind of roll right through them, and they kind of recognize like these are like level entry jobs.
Yeah.
Some people have the education necessary to maybe move on, or the experience, or the will to like just gut it out and eat shit and be disrespected for 5 years. But they also recognize that, like, you know what? Most of the people are probably going to be here for a year or two. That's what we're going to get out of them. Maybe in that time period, they might experience one raise. That raise will, you know, hopefully be enough to have them go from being here 6 months, where they only really got trained to know how to do the job, to keeping them here for 18 months, which is worth it to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll probably go on about their business. And so they don't ever bother to develop relationships with those people.
It's like
and
disposable.
yeah, and it's not a great way to look at business. But what happens is these companies, they get really big, and as they grow, let's say that this company was sold, right? And what they'll do is they'll pay me. They would pay me to they'd say, you know what, Mark, you could show up at like a Christmas party or something, but we don't want you around at all. And the reason why they do that is because I would be way too attached. I'm way too attached to the company.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of my ideas are good, but some of my ideas are bad, in line with what their vision would be. You take like Ron Penna, for example, with Quest Nutrition. Quest Nutrition is a totally different animal nowadays. They used to have the smartest, brightest people in the world in their offices all the time. They have had leading doctors and nutritionists, world-renowned people that have written books and textbooks, and just these people that are full of great information. Well, the company is different now. They have a different CEO. I'm sure that CEO probably cares about people, but he doesn't have time to care about the X amount of number of employees that they have. And so they put their time and energy into making money.
Mm-hmm.
And so each person in the company, we got this social media person. We have this person does media. Then that person just does their job. They might have somebody that kind of has a watchful eye over that situation. And if they do their job well, kind of like the job that you had before, maybe you'll be eligible for a raise. Maybe you'll be eligible to make some progress. But really, it's just about your job. It's not about anything else.
Mm-hmm. And then
to be fair though, I did move up. I didn't stay in the same spot. I moved over. I moved over. I was the only chick in the general market, which was cool. I thought it was cool. But my bosses, I have to admit, I had good direct bosses. The ones above me were fantastic. So I can't talk bad on them because they did care. They did
cool.
care about us. But the guy above them,
Right.
that was the asshole.
Right.
Who would just nitpick a little. They were just super cheap.
Right.
I mean,
that's what I was gonna say. It with a company like that, it just comes down to the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we have Jessica over here. She's can sell whatever, like X amount. How do we get that amount but pay someone less? Or how can we give her less? Or how can we get her in and out quicker? And that's when, like Mark said, it's about a money making thing.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking annoying because when you just don't think about the people.
Yeah. And for me, like what I'm trying to do with this company is provide more opportunity for the people that work here. Who knows if that'll always be the way that I view it, like 20 years from now or however long this whole thing lasts for. I don't even know. But, maybe as I get older, maybe I'll be like more rigid or something, or maybe there will have been some turnover, and maybe I will have to act or treat some of the people differently or something. But I don't like the way any of that sounds. I don't like the way any of that looks, and I don't really, I have goals for the company. I want to see the company do certain things, but those things don't really matter to me. That's why I don't ever really look at any of our numbers. Andy was sharing with me like our sales that we did for the IPF stuff, getting everything IPF approved and having a sale for it and everything. And I don't even like knowing that. I definitely don't like knowing the dollar amount. I like knowing the number of orders is kind of cool for me, because I know that, we used to sell like 5 things a day, 10 things a day. And so to hear that we did like, over 1,000 or something in a particular day, I'm like, oh my God. And that makes me feel really good, because I know that everybody worked for that. But, I think there's a lot of people that will have companies, and they will bring a company to a certain level, and they'll make $500,000 or $800,000 a year. They'll be very, very successful. But because of the stress and because of, leveling up is very difficult, what happens after you start to hit certain markers, then you have to hire more people. And people are very cheap, and they don't want to do that. And that's not a position that I ever want to be in. I want to be able to continue to provide more opportunity for the people that are in this building, and to allow you guys to grow and allow you guys to, I mean, I've seen it happen time and time again here where you guys will come to me with ideas that weren't, nothing was forced upon you. You're like, oh, I came up with this. Or Andrew, you came to me about the podcast, and then we were off and running with this, and that creates an opportunity, and in the opportunity is more money. And for me, that makes me feel really good, to see some of you guys have bought new cars. Like I remember kind of the first time that happened, I cried. Like Emma was driving around in a new car, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Fucking Emma's driving around in a new car, and then it kind of really hit me. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm responsible for everybody's like holidays and shit." I'm like, this is some serious, this is some serious crap going on here.
And some of us got kids now too. So
oh
it's
my god!
Well,
you're gonna mess up Christmas if anything happens to me.
I don't think Mark gets enough credit because I mean, we don't necessarily share all the cool things that Mark does for us.
Oh,
behind closed doors.
No, it would seem so fabricated.
It would seem fake for sure.
If we talked about everything, like all the cool shit that goes on,
like Andrew getting married,
engaged so far.
Well, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
Married.
Still off the market, but yeah, no, he opened up his Bodega Bay Beach House and
helped set it up.
Yeah. He was the kind of like, I don't want to say he was the complete driving force because there was a lot of me involved, but no, he was he definitely pushed me, and he's like,
he and I went on a 10-minute walk, and I was like big bro kind of, and said, "Hey, man,
definitely.
What are you doing?"
That's a that's a perfect way to put it.
I said, that's a hot piece you got over there, dude. Like, let's have her sign the paperwork because somebody else might come flying in.
Yeah, but then I asked the question, and then the first training day back, he's like, "Hey, are you sure?" And that's when that's where that photo came from, because he grabbed my hand and he was like, "Hey."
One thing led to another. Now it's kind of me and Andrew. So.
He's like, "You haven't said yes yet. Like, you asked, but you guys didn't say I do." I was like, "Oh boy." So he's still making a play for me.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to hit that.
You helped. you helped me, and you've helped my dad a lot. I've lost a lot of weight.
Your dad's amazing.
And my dad's lost, damn near 100 pounds.
Yeah, remember when he
130?
Remember when he came to the old gym?
Yeah.
He was a big boy.
He just wanted to work. He wanted to impress you so much.
He was, there's me and Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't post the gayest picture.
No,
but I posted it on your story.
It's here somewhere. I'll find it.
God, we look good. That's all I could say.
What the fuck is it?
Yeah, but when your dad, when he came to super training the first time, one thing I love to try to prove to people is that you can do all the. There we go.
There it is.
Love and marriage, love and marriage. God, that's a great picture, Andrew. Yeah. But when your dad, when he first came in, what I love to show people is that you can do all the same stuff that we're doing. So here your dad is coming in, an older guy. He's heavy. He's out of shape. He used to be an athlete and stuff like that, and he's not anymore. And a lot of your self-worth. There's a great picture.
I have a good comparison photo.
A lot of your self.
Is it on yours or his?
A lot of your self-worth it deteriorates. Like you used to do this, you used to do that, you used to be able to do these certain things, and now you can't do them anymore, and you don't feel good about yourself. And one thing I really loved showing him was you can do all the same shit that we can do. And that's what we did with that first workout is he did all the same stuff that we did. He just did it at a different pace. He did it in a different way. But do you remember in that workout how many times he had to stop and how many times we had to give him water? We had to get him out of the sun. We had to really make sure everything was okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's not like that anymore at all.
No.
He'd be able to...
He's working.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
He lost over 100 pounds. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so... My dad, he's even lost more weight than that photo there on the right. Yeah.
How about him from like he was always is crazy in this picture is his legs. When you
Yeah.
look at his legs are no longer dark anymore at the bottom, which is a sign of very poor heart circulation.
Yeah.
Your body's ability to circulate the blood when you become really big like that, and I had the same thing when I was heavy. Your body, you can't you get the blood back to your heart, which is fucking crazy. Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But how is he, from a mental standpoint, and I know he's always been fun. Seems like he's always been a fun-loving guy. How has he changed otherwise?
He wants to do more stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he does stuff with my brother now, like all the time. He goes cycling with my brother and goes out, to like breweries and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not a huge drinker, but he's he's more lively. He's got more life left in him.
Right. Yeah, he's having a lot more fun doing it.
He doesn't want to just stay in the house and watch TV and sit on his recliner anymore.
When you were young, when you were like a kid, was he real big? Like real heavy? Or is this later on that this
No,
happened?
I mean, he was like bigger, but he wasn't like...
God, he looks great. He's got his smoky shirt on.
Yeah.
That's great. And he's got the...
Let me pop that little willy.
He has the...
That was great.
He's got the compression cuffs on his knees.
Yeah,
Sick.
so he wears the compression cuffs I have a... Oh, I almost went off-roading there.
Yeah.
The gangster wraps around his knees.
On his knees.
Yeah, but what was the question? You got me all distracted with that awesome
I
video.
was basically just asking like how he's changed, and you're kind of saying that he just wants to do more stuff, and then I also asked, as when you were a kid, like when you were
he was
10 and stuff like that, was he like real big and fat, or
I mean,
that happened later on?
I mean, he was bigger. He was definitely always bigger, but I wouldn't say he was like super obese.
Right.
Like that picture.
That just happened later on.
This is my favorite picture of him.
Yeah, he's got the Joe Rogan shirt on. He's
That's
so
great.
proud of it.
I love that. So like, what has he been doing to slim down, like diet wise?
So, initially it was one of those programs to get less fat for your work.
Mm-hmm.
The 6-month challenge or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to lose weight. And of course, okay, so like everybody else, my dad has gone through waves of losing over 100 pounds, gaining it all back, losing, gaining, gaining. That's like a thing. It's very familiar.
I think that happens a lot too when you only lose weight through food manipulation and not anything else. Like not a real strong form of exercise and strength training.
I mean, my dad originally, when he first lost, over 100 pounds, he used that like Visalis shake shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of y'all have heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he lost a bunch of weight. And then initially this time around, he started just making healthier choices with his food. So he was making food, just chicken, green beans, vegetables, rice. And he wasn't keto. He was not keto. For the first 6 months, he was just making better choices.
Well, people don't realize you don't have to be keto. The advantage I share with people all the time is that the ketogenic diet, for people that really lack control and they have a hard time with the option of having yogurt and bananas and apples and rice and some of these different things that you may be allowed to eat on a very nutritious plan that allow you to lose weight, when some people are able to eat those things, they go haywire and then they eat a bunch of junk.
Right.
But if you just eliminate some grains and you eliminate some sugar from your diet, you can make some huge, extraordinary changes without being on any sort of crazy plan. I mean, that's kind of the plan you're on now, right, for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, so for me, I actually started out doing just keto because I was out of control.
Yeah.
Making terrible decisions.
Control, I think, is the number one thing. When we talk about diet, I think that's like principle number one. How do we gain some sort of control? And maybe the first thing you try to gain control of is just like going on some walks or something. Like just because, trying to really gain control completely over your diet is going to take a really long time. And if you are going to say that you're going to do something and then you don't do it, it's a lot of negative reinforcement. It's a lot of pressure, and it can kind of cause more guilt, more depression, more anxiety over this kind of concept and idea that you need to control your diet. I think you also begin to think, oh my God, like, do I got to do this forever? And the answer is not really. No, you don't. And also, it doesn't all have to happen overnight. So for you, going on a keto diet was just the start of it, and then you're not doing keto anymore.
No. So I was doing keto for a bit, lost a bunch of weight, like 30 something pounds. And then it was starting to affect my training. So Mark was like, I just want you to add in rice. Or actually, I think he just said sweet potatoes, Japanese sweet potatoes. That's like his favorite thing, by the way.
I try to push them on everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Have you had these? You should try these.
For some reason, people don't know about it.
I know. They're delicious. I mean, they're good. So that's all I did. That's all I added. I wasn't keto anymore, but the only difference in my food was that I was just eating rice and sweet potatoes. And I didn't.
Now you have like yogurt, and I see you eating fruit and stuff like that.
Yeah, fruit's my favorite.
I love fruit too.
And if you don't eat shit, it actually tastes freaking amazing, even if you aren't keto.
Right.
My dad.
Veggies. Eat some veggies.
Yeah, squash. I love squash. Zucchini.
Veggies, fruit, and then just meat, right?
Yeah, meat.
Could be red meat. Could be chicken. Could be.
Yeah, I've been eating a lot of chicken.
You go through phases, right? Where like you like something and then you switch it up.
Yep. Eggs, oatmeal. I do eat oatmeal a lot now.
I think eggs are important. I think there's something to eggs. Like if you can handle them, some people are kind of allergic to eggs, but I think the eggs have a lot of cholesterol in them, and I think that's actually really important for strength training. And then also, if you're not eating steak, then I think the eggs are almost more important.
Yeah. Because
you're not going to get that much nutrition from a goddamn chicken.
That's true.
They're just protein, straight protein.
Yeah.
Have you seen other changes in your pops? In terms of like his mentality. Like I said, he doesn't seem like a depressed guy to me, but like maybe when he was real heavy, maybe he was. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. My dad was moody, just like anybody.
Yeah.
I would say is got a little bit more mental clarity there.
Yeah.
It's easier for so he still has sleep apnea though. So he still sleeps with a machine.
He might always
one
need
thing
that.
that
Some
has
people need
changed, I will admit this. No more gout.
Oh.
I know people say red meat causes gout.
No, yeah, it's
incorrect.
Yeah.
He's doing just fine. He it would get so bad. My dad's gout was so bad. He had to have crutches. Sometimes he'd have to call out from work because he couldn't
gout?
walk.
Do you kind of know what it is? I don't really know.
So it's like crystallized.
But your feet hurt, right?
Yeah, you can get it in your feet and ankles and knees, I think. I don't know about knees. I just made that up.
Is it a skin thing? Your skin gets all messed up? Oh.
It's in your joints.
Oh.
It's like something's crystallized in your joints. And it's nasty.
Yeah, it hurts.
He could barely walk. And there were days that he had to call out of work.
And now he's like riding his bike all over the damn place, right?
Yeah. So originally when probably one of the first times he ever lost a bunch of weight, he was on such a good clip. But then he ended up getting gout. And that kind of just spiraled his weight gain again.
That happens to a lot of people.
He was doing so good, and then he got discouraged because he could barely move.
Rosemary and I were talking this morning about you. We snuck out and went on a 10-minute walk. And I was telling her, I was like, we were saying how awesome it is, the transformation that you made, the weight loss, and then on top of that, you're getting stronger, which is awesome to see too, especially because you got a powerlifting meet coming up. But I was telling Rosemary, I was like, Jessica she'll be able to keep that weight off because of the strength training that you're doing and because of the muscle mass that you have. Your body weight might fluctuate here and there, but in general, it should be, I don't want to say easy, but it would take a lot of work for you to get back to being as heavy as you were. You'd have to go out of your way. Now, it wouldn't take very long, right? Because, we all know that, we can all just kind of lose our mind and eat a bunch of junk. And
it takes, the snap of a finger.
Yeah, to be fat in 10 seconds. But you're aware of that enough to where that's in the back of your head. I ain't doing that shit, right?
Yeah.
But also, you developed some really good, strong habits, and none of this is like you didn't lose like 60 pounds in 6 weeks.
No.
You lost like 30 or 40 30 pounds, something like that.
Like 40, 45.
Yeah, well, that's a first of all, that's a huge amount of weight. That is a huge amount of weight. People don't understand that. You hear people say they lost 60 pounds and 80 pounds, and you hear all these numbers all the time. Anything over 20 pounds is a lot of freaking weight.
And that wasn't even me at my heaviest either.
Hmm.
I didn't like to take pictures. I didn't go out of the house.
Yeah.
No,
Ayo, depression, what up?
Yeah, and but when you lose the weight correctly and you take your time and you learn it over a period of time, along with doing strength training, along with whatever other exercise you're getting, and you develop these really strong habits, then it's going to be that much harder for that weight gain to happen ever again.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me, just with the weight loss, is being more confident, and so I mean, depression, anxiety, it's a real
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, so I was a psych major, and
You went to college?
oh my god! But the most common
You don't have a degree in
mood
stuff?
disorder. Yeah, I do.
What the
you
hell?
do?
What? And I
So that's-
know I'm here. So
is
what
that-
am I doing?
2 people now that we
Wow,
can...
she's so smart. Smokey claimed he went to college too, but
I
I
don't
know.
know.
Emma definitely
Undefeated
did. She's
judo champ.
Yeah.
judo chop. He mentioned that in his speech.
Mm-hmm. That he was undefeated judo
Mhm.
champ. What did you go to school for?
So originally, I just went to school to play sports
Good.
to get out of Bakersfield.
You ended up getting a scholarship, didn't you?
Yeah,
Motherfucking
so-
scholarship.
Here's the thing.
Motherfucking scholarship.
I love that scene.
I
Hold it
had
up, hold it up.
supportive parents. I had good grades. I was good in sports. I did well in school, but I didn't have any direction whatsoever. Because, I mean, all these good things, but when it was time to apply for colleges, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I just didn't. And then one day this email comes in and my teacher read it, and it was, if you're above 5'10" or have good grades, have sports background.
You're like, shit, they talking about me.
And no, I'm not shitting you. My teacher, he made me, Mr. Para, he made me go to my,
No, here we go. Motherfucking scholarship. Dribbling a Swiss ball around, an exercise ball.
but anyway, yeah. So he made me go to my counselor, and my counselor called the coach up here, Mike Connors, MC. What up? Oh,
Oh. Somebody calling us?
No, I just want people to hear it.
Oh.
play it
Oh,
one
here we
more
go.
time.
See, Louis.
What's up, players? I've been up in here trying to get a motherfucking scholarship. Chilling.
Every time, like, you know what's funny is, like, it's so disappointing sometimes when you go back and listen to something, it's not as funny as you thought. Every time I watch that, it's funnier than I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, MC.
So I ended up going on an official visit. They saw how tall I was. But to be honest, I was thick.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Some junk in the trunk and everywhere else.
Yeah, if you go back far enough on my Instagram, there's a comparison. So this is not the first time I've been fat in my life. It was before I, joined college sports, and then my coach basically was like, "Hey, I'm gonna." It's so weird when guys talk to girls about losing weight.
Oh,
They get
no.
so uncomfortable. Like Mark did that. It was amazing because, like, I'm not sensitive. Like, I already know I'm fat. You don't have to tell me. So, my coach basically had to have that talk with me, and so all I did was change portions. I just had portion control, and I lost a bunch of weight.
That's great.
And then I kept it off throughout college. I kept all my weight off, and I was probably like the smallest, I should say, but I didn't have a lot of muscle mass. I mean, my legs were big. Don't get me wrong. My legs were big. And my back was a little bit bigger because of rowing. It's all legs. People don't think that. They think
Kind of legs.
you're using your arms. It's all legs.
Legs and back, maybe.
Yep, legs and back, lats. That's why my deadlift, so it's shit. Don't get me wrong. I know my deadlift is
410
not...
for 2, though, right?
Yeah, no, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
But, like, the only reason I'm able to do that is because of rowing. My back is so strong from rowing, it's stupid.
Stupid. With a capital ST.
Yeah.
How did you end up getting a scholarship?
I went on that official visit and he
And-
liked.
and
I
they-
had great recommendations from all my coaches.
And then
'cause
they
I like
have
to work hard.
X amount of people on a team,
Yep.
right? And then so they have X
And I
amount
was-
of scholarships to give.
Yeah,
and
and so there's a lot of tall people out there,
Mm-hmm.
but there's not a lot of tall women like me.
Right.
I mean, there are, but there aren't.
no, there's not.
There,
There's not
I mean,
really.
you don't see me walking around the street all the time.
Right.
So he was
Oh,
like,
you stick
"All right,
out."
let's." Ayo. So I ended up I was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do this. I didn't really have anything else going for me. I was probably gonna stay at the local JC, play volleyball because I love volleyball. It's like, yeah, that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Joined. It was the hardest fucking sport of my life. Rowing the first year, whew, rough. I was
Isn't
like
just
I'm gonna die.
Isn't like just the logistics of rowing kind of a pain in the ass? I mean, I know we're here in Sacramento, California, so weather-wise things aren't too bad, but it's got to be extremely cold sometimes, extremely hot. Like the training,
Yeah, you get up every day at 5.
you're in a damn boat. Like,
Yeah, so
like
what a
inconvenient.
culture! What a culture
Yeah.
shock, really. And it's so it's expensive.
I mean, most sports you just grab a ball and you go out in a field and you just play. Not a huge
Right.
problem.
Yeah, me, I had to drive 30 minutes. Get up at 5, drive 30 minutes, get to practice in the morning. No matter if it was summer or winter or whatever, it was cold as shit. I mean, cold for California, so don't
Yeah.
at me, everybody.
Yeah.
I know it's
Yeah,
not
we're not
that
in
cold.
Minnesota. right?
Okay, we get it. But it was cold, and then it would be rainy, and it doesn't matter unless there is thunder and lightning.
Then you're going.
Yeah, and only if the thunder and lightning were close enough. But if it wasn't, they said, "Fuck it, let's go." We're out in this metal thing. There.
Were you a big wimp like Andrew and I? Andrew and I were talking yesterday how like at that moment, you know, going to these hard practices all the time, you just kind of hope that you could like fake some sort of injury. So
There were days that I did,
Yeah.
for sure. I
But
was
you
sick
never
a
did.
lot too.
you just stuck it out.
Yeah, I stuck it out. I actually so toot my own horn here, but
Oh, I thought you
like
were trying to fart.
you told me to get it out before we walked in. I actually by the end of my freshman year, I was the fastest girl
Damn.
that we had on the team. But I was also probably the biggest. So, you know what? Whatever.
You know what we should have you do? We should have you, go ham on that Concept 2 rower one day, and then we should just see if there's any guy in here that could ever beat you.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It probably
there's-
won't, but yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, I know Brian Shaw could, but
Oh, yeah. So then
depends on the distance, I guess.
That'd be pretty sick, actually.
I basically kept that from freshman year through my senior year. I was the fastest chick. And by my senior year, it didn't matter by body weight. I was still the fastest.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I made sure of it. I was like, none of these small, skinny bitches are going to beat me. Even though they were fast as shit, I was like, nope.
Yeah, I couldn't find any like pictures worth comparison, but even in just this picture, like your face, you look way different already.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wait, can we just look at the caption for a second?
What does it say? The epitome of elegance and taste, beauty and grace. Jeez.
Hashtag sex symbol.
So true. So true.
No one laughs at my jokes more than I do. So
That is also a fact.
Oh no.
You mentioned that you kind of have thick skin because you recognize that you've been heavy, and you probably kind of been that way for a fairly long time, right? On and off.
So okay, I don't know. As a kid, I was skinny.
Oh.
I was string mean until
then-
I went to high school. So this is where I think I could have been better, but I didn't know. I didn't realize like
Didn't know what's going on.
my control. Yeah. I was in a lot of sports. I was always active. I
Did
was
you
just
halfway know at
fat.
some point,
What?
did you halfway know at some point, like I'm getting fat and like the food I'm eating is contributing to that?
It didn't really hit me until, unfortunately, it didn't hit me
Until
until
you were
I was
heavier.
until I was too late. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
too big. I think by my senior year, I was like, oh fuck, I'm kind of fat. And then when I went to college, I was like, shit, you bitch thick, because they thought I was a thrower at Sac State, and I was like, no, I'm a rower. They're like, oh okay, sure.
So, like you throw shot put, right, Chubbs?
Yeah,
Aw.
basically. No, that's what I mean. Marcus said he thought I was a thrower too, because he was on the track team.
He's thick.
He is thick.
With 3 C's.
For reals. Somebody was asking your best lifts and what weight class.
I'm a super heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't completely
I
sure.
mean, people are asking because they don't know.
Yeah. So in competition,
And you're like 6 foot.
almost 6'1".
There you go.
Yeah.
I've pulled 403 in competition. Benched 215 or 214, but 215 here in the gym like last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I squatted 330 in sleeves.
Knee sleeves.
Was that when Ed Cohn was here?
No, I did a
in the meet.
325
Oh,
when
okay.
Eddie was here, and then 330 in the
Right.
meet.
Tight.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So you mentioned like we were talking about your body weight, right? And so you recognized, okay, like I'm fat and I need to figure out something to do for it. But like in kind of recognizing that, did you kind of know what to do about it or not really?
No. Looking back though, I realized there are things that I could have done differently. Going through high school and like being in all those sports and stuff, we were so busy. My parents they kind of stopped making dinner.
Right.
Which, okay, like I don't expect everyone's parents to be making them dinner every night.
Right.
But we would go to McDonald's.
It's a huge factor.
Oh yeah, massive. And I know for a fact if I would have said, "Hey mom, instead of stopping at McDonald's, could we grab some food for home?"
Right.
They would have done it in a heartbeat.
Right. Well, when we had Tony Seminet on the podcast, and we asked him, and we asked Big J, our boy Big J Extreme Fitness. I asked both guys because both guys kind of have a tactical background. Tony's former police officer and military, and I asked both guys about the school shootings. I was like, what do you think's responsible for this kind of stuff, and what do you think can be done, and like how And people had all these ideas of, let's have a cop at the school and let's do all these things and let's check people for guns on the way in, have metal detectors and all these things. And both guys said that, Big J said it comes down to love, just people having enough love in their life and enough, and the way that he defined love, which I thought was amazing, especially coming from this big old grizzled guy that you wouldn't think would talk this way. He said, I define love by the word time, time. You have to put time into people and you have to be there for people. And so basically, in short, what he was saying was it comes down to parents. And then Tony Seminet said the same thing, which I was kind of shocked to hear from him with a military background and him also being a cop. He was like, no. He's like, that ain't going to change anything. He's like, he's like, we need better parents. We need better leaders. We need people to lead by example. We need people to love their children and to be there for their kids. And that'll have the biggest impact. And that this is probably the second or third time now that I've heard somebody bring this up when it comes to the epidemic of obesity. And you said that your buddy, your big fat squatter buddy, kind of mentioned that he basically said that because a lot of parents aren't cooking and it might be controversial, but moms are no longer. Moms are no longer kind of staying at home and preparing meals for kids, and not that the mom has to, but somebody needs to be responsible for that.
100%.
And so a lot of times things kind of spiral out of control from there, and it's like, it's easy to go to McDonald's, it's inexpensive to go to McDonald's, and it tastes amazing.
Yeah.
So it actually makes a lot of sense. It's not to say that your parents in particular are to blame.
Yeah.
But parents listening to this podcast understand that you can help gain control, or any of you that are going to become parents in the future, just understand that is really important. I cook breakfast for my kids every morning.
But also kids too. Like, I know, like, it's also like a matter of like my parents were really strict. I love them to death, but they were strict. And so it was almost like I didn't have a choice. I felt like I didn't have a choice. But I'm sure if I would have asked, they would have been like, sure.
Yeah, but as a kid, you don't even think about
Right,
that.
you don't even think about it. So
No, you're just like, fuck yeah, McDonald's. What's
yeah,
up?
my big buddy, yeah, he did say something. He's like, I know this is really controversial, and at first I was like, fuck you. He said when mom started going to work, obesity went up. And I mean, he's kind of not wrong. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's a thing, but he was like, at
Well,
some point,
I'll
someone
tell you-
needs to at
Yeah.
least, if you're going to work, that's fine. But if you don't
Mhm.
prepare your kids' lunches, because school lunches are awful. And I'll be the
Yeah.
first to tell you, that was another thing. My mom used to make me lunches, and I used to hate it. And all I wanted was school lunch.
Hmm.
And I got that in high school. And that's when I really started to gain weight.
And
I
what
totally
did you eat?
forgot about that.
Fries and cookies?
Pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever they had.
Whatever they had those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches
Yeah.
on those like graham cracker things, the
I
long
know.
skinny
It's
ones.
like 5,000 ingredients.
Oh
and
my
somehow
god,
it
they're
doesn't make
so
sense.
good
I
though.
remember my high school had like a spicy chicken sandwich. It was
Yes.
insane.
And all the flavored milks. I mean, come on.
I'll tell you
yeah,
guys.
those are just boxes of sugar.
I'll tell you guys what I did in high school. The second that we had the opportunity to like venture out and not eat the
We didn't have that in my high school, by the way.
oh, you didn't?
No.
Yeah, so we had places close by. You go to McDonald's, there was a couple other spots. I went to this deli and I got me a pound of roast beef. Cuz
So
I started to learn about the ketogenic
Yeah.
diet when I was in high school.
That's awesome.
And what was actually really funny about that is I weighed 240 pounds when I was like 16. I was a big kid and I was fat, but I wasn't the fat kid by any means. I was already lifting. I started lifting at 12. So at 16, I started to gain some body fat. I had a stomach, but like, I had a little bit of like arms, especially compared to like
You sound like my dad.
the other kids,
Right.
So, and I wasn't huge. I was probably similar height at 16, maybe almost already done growing at that age. And anyway, I remember like, learning about a ketogenic diet and then also I was on the track team and they made us run on the track team. So I started to lose weight. And it was actually, the whole thing was actually a really good experience for me. It was good for me to have this like pocket of time for being like just heavy, right? Because girls didn't play into anything at that point because I wasn't getting anything back from, from the situation ever because I was heavier, right? And so I went from 240 right down to like 200. And then the girls were kind of like, hey, and I was like, see you
you go.
later. Like, I'm playing football and I'm fucking training. Like, I'm not, I don't care.
I don't want to deal with you right now.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with all you bitches. But that's kind of what happened. And it helped kind of shape my life in some way because a lot of my other friends were wasting a lot of time in these freaking relationships. And there was so much drama all the time going on with it. I was like, and then I as I kind of saw all that unfold, I was like, man, people are like with each other for 2, 3, 4 years at a clip, and none of it seems to make any sense. No one seems to be all that happy. I'm like, why are they even bothering? What are you doing? Like, why even bother to have a boyfriend or girlfriend in high school?
I didn't.
It's for the benefits, maybe.
But I think you're better off. I think
Oh
you're-
yeah. I
you're-
don't think I missed out on anything.
Way
Yeah.
better off.
Yeah,
Like I don't think I missed out on like because there were people.
you probably wanted one more than anything, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Nothing
yeah.
like today.
Hey,
Hey, now.
you weren't Smokey.
I know, my bad.
How was it going through school being big? Like you're tall too. So I know my wife is she's 5'10", and that was a big deal for her. She always just felt like this giant, and you're taller.
I didn't. Okay, so there was this one experience that I remembered in specific. For
Is that a word? Specificity.
I was waiting for that. I think I had just transferred from like Hort Elementary, Bakersfield, California. Everybody.
Bakersfield in the house.
Represent.
I think I had transferred from Hort or God, what was that?
Another school.
I just had like a transition school. I was there for 1 year and they were not very nice to me or my family, so we moved. And that being said, I ended up at Heisler Elementary. The first day I walked in and it was time for recess and I was like, oh shit, like I don't know anyone here, you know? And I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I got so red. So I used to have a nickname in grade school.
Uh-oh.
Kool-Aid face. I was so pale and white, and I would just get so red, so they called me Kool-Aid face. Anyway, but I was so
Hot and
tall.
sweaty.
Yeah, I know. I was tall, and this girl, her name is Amanda McDonald. I always remember her. She came up and she like grabbed my arm and was like, I want you to hang out with me. And I legit think the only reason why she wanted me to hang out with her was because I was so fucking tall. Because they were just like
so
amazed.
let's go fuck people up.
She was like amazed that she'd never seen anyone so tall. And I just remember her just like looking up. And I was like, oh my God, I have friends.
Yeah.
But like, she would brush my hair.
That's great.
It's so random, but we became really good friends in like just that first year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's totally random, but like that was like I feel like my experience. I would always shrink down because I thought I was so big and tall, and I didn't want to stick out like a sore thumb.
There's a lot of guys that have there's a lot of guys that have bad posture from that. Guys that are real tall, like 6'7" and stuff.
100%.
Their posture is not only bad because it's uncomfortable to be that tall. It's also just kind of ducking down and trying to get to everybody else's level. They'll crouch a lot.
Yeah.
Because when you're young and when you're like 11 and you're 4 inches taller than everybody, you don't want to stand out, so you kind of hunch down, which is kind of funny because as you get older,
everyone is so jealous that you're tall.
Your individualism is so strong and so important.
Yeah, I sprouted pretty early, like height-wise, and so I was always taller than all my friends, but like I just super skinny, so I try to like stay low to not be so like, oh, there's a fucking flagpole again. Like,
so here's the funny thing.
You look at like Kevin, he kind of walks around like that.
Yeah,
he's real thin, so he's like, you know what I mean?
I actually had to talk to him about that.
LOL, Kevin.
Don't walk around like a hump.
Yeah, little LGK.
That same year, we were moving stuff around the classroom, and then I realized how strong I was.
Nice.
I didn't realize how strong I was, but it was like off-putting for some people. Mm-hmm. So I would pretend like we had to push desks.
Oh no!
So the first time I did, I literally like threw it.
they're like, hey, can you pick that up over there? And you're like, yeah, I got it. They're like,
whoa! Threw it out the window.
It was like a scene out of Matilda. Fucking Trunchbull just like throws. Like that's what I felt. I felt so, and I wore my hair in a bun too, so like the really tight, nasty bun.
It's like fuck your desk.
And then after that, I was like, oh my God, I'm so strong. Oh my God, this is too heavy. I can't.
Can someone
push
please
it.
help the little lady?
Yeah, I hella did that as a kid because I was like, no one else can move this.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that I'm moving this? Like, I can't. Oh my God, I need help. Can someone help me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So self-conscious about that. Like, now I look back, I'm like, that was dumb.
But you're a kid, like we said earlier. Like, you just don't know better.
Yeah.
Like, you're just trying to fit in.
Plus, I mean, you stick out, and kids notice, and kids are honest.
Kids are assholes.
Yeah. If a kid calls you ugly, you know you're ugly.
That's
right?
true, huh?
Damn, I'm ugly.
Just don't ask.
Like, if a girl calls you ugly, she's probably jealous.
She probably likes you.
Oh, yeah. A guy does it, he probably likes you. Or you might be ugly. But if a kid calls you ugly, you're ugly.
So how old was that when you kind of realized, like, oh shit, like I'm stronger than everyone else around me?
3rd and 4th grade.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was so if I can find it somewhere, and there's a picture of me when I was like 5. I was massive. We had a birthday party for me.
Andy has a picture like that.
Yeah, we had like I was like 5 years old, and there's a picture of me for like my birthday, and I look like I'm in 2nd grade.
I'm gonna have
but
Andy.
I'm 5 years old.
I'm gonna have Andy bring in her picture. It's like her at like ballet with like other girls that are her age, and she's just like a total giant.
Yeah, you just tower over everybody.
It's like, is the instructor in the play or whatever as well? It's like, nope, that was me. Like,
exactly.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
My brother was huge. Mad Dog. He was like massive. Like he and I were about the same height. He probably weighed like 260 or something, but he was a good 250 or no, actually I think he was more like 270 pounds. Like
the size of the neck on that guy.
Yeah, when he was in high school, he was just a big old boy, and everybody always thought he was like older. When he was he was like 8 and they thought he was like 13 and shit like that. He was just massive.
They thought that for me too. Like if you were to go and get, eat at a restaurant. They're
Right.
like, you're older than 12. I'm like, try again.
And you're like, no, like I'm 9.
Nah, dog. I'm just tall.
So back to some of the diet stuff. So you ended up utilizing a ketogenic diet. That's how you got things rolling. And then I'd imagine like being in this environment, I'm really proud of the fact. One of the things I'm probably more proud of than anything else that's ever happened at Super Training or at Slingshot is the way that all the employees eat, at least while they're here. You got to have some real balls to come in here and just chow down on some like pizza.
Okay,
during like lunch, because a lot of times people are bringing their own meals, and for the most part, I see people being very health conscious, and I'm sure there's some trips to Panda Express from Smokey and Josh, but other than that, it's some pretty clean eating going around here.
So when Mark is fat, we're all fat.
Uh-oh.
And Smokey, Emma, all of us will attest to this. When Mark's fat, we're all fat. We all make terrible decisions because it's just around.
Right.
But when Mark is on his fittest, we're all kind of on our shit too.
Yeah.
And it trickles down. People notice. People pick up on things that you're doing. And we all started making meals and coming in, and we were no longer going to that teriyaki place from down the street at our old place.
Oh yeah.
That place was good.
Place is really good. And then Sancho's right next door. Mexican
That place
food.
hurts your stomach though forever. That's why I started learning about that teriyaki place. I'm like, man, my stomach cannot deal with this anymore.
Yeah, but that's what we would get for podcast guests. We would go get the teriyaki chicken.
That smelled amazing.
It did smell.
I always thought because
really
like
good.
whenever we'd get it, I'd be starving, so I'd like inhale the whole thing in a couple seconds.
But like if you look at it, it is a big
It's a lot
portion.
of.
That's
it's
a
heavy.
lot of food.
It's like 5 pounds of food.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But even when I first when both of us were like full-time employees, I noticed like you always had meals. Always. And I remember thinking like, oh, fuck, looking around, like, because I came from a job that had I worked at home. So I had meals ready to go, or not meals, but like I had the access to make whatever I wanted whenever. And I was like, fuck, man, I got to start packing lunches and stuff. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's going to be weird. And then I look over and you have like, I don't like just whatever, like bomb ass lunches. And I'm just like, damn, I got to get on her level. But you were like, well, it's cheaper for me to do it this way. Like you out of necessity, like on a couple different levels, you stayed really strict on your diet, whatever the diet was at the time or whatever. But you were the first person that I noticed was like really like just really strict on herself. There you go, consistently bringing food in.
It was out of a necessity.
Necessity.
When I took this job, I took a pay cut. But I wanted to get out, so I did. And I just had to be better about my food and money I was spending. And the first place to control that is by going to the grocery store. Not Safeway. It's so expensive.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday.
Yep.
When it comes to that kind of thing, people don't understand that it's so much cheaper. Like they'll be like, oh, steak costs, a ton of money or whatever, and it's like, okay, that may be a little bit more expensive, but there's actually a ton of stress and there's a ton of problems with going out to eat for lunch while you're working. The logistics of it all, like a lot of people go to office buildings, and office buildings are oftentimes in like a city. So if you work in like the city of Sacramento, and you have an hour lunch break. Well, now you got to figure out where to go. And that, it doesn't sound like it's stressful, but it's extremely stressful. Where are we going today? You kind of have like 3 or 4 options that you know of that are kind of fast enough, kind of sort of fast enough if you find parking. But it's a giant pain in the ass. It's hugely inconvenient on many levels. And even if you roll through like a Chipotle or something and grab something on the go, you have so much more control over your diet with making your own food. And I would also go on to say that you can make it taste better a lot of times. Like these places don't, they're not going to flavor it for you the way that you like. And you can kind of control every aspect. You can get whatever salsa that you like. You can get whatever salt or pepper or other ingredients. You can make stuff 100% customized to yourself. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me that that's such a big hurdle for people.
Yeah, I used to get in a shitload of trouble when I worked in an office because, like, if I didn't, I mean, we used to have our 6-pack bags. You seen that big ass one that I took? Yeah.
Yeah.
We would pack that with, like, we call it first lunch, second lunch, and then, you know, whatever, just a bunch of snacks. But if I didn't pack that, we'd have to sprint to, like, In-N-Out or Chipotle, like, one exit away. And I'd get in trouble because I'd have to finish eating at my desk. And there's like, you can't be eating and working. It's like, you guys do it all the time. You're all fat. Like,
Yeah, right.
just because, you know, you just want to be an asshole and look down at me.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't care what restaurant or whatever it is. It's so much better when you know for sure that, like, the meat or whatever hasn't been messed with. Like, I don't know. I've gone to Chipotle too many times where the meat just tastes bad. And I can't, like,
I don't know.
to risk that is no bueno.
Being on a diet and then going out, you just don't know what people put in your food.
Right.
The level, and then this too, like, now that I'm moved on into just eating regularly, I work with a nutritionist through Hybrid Nutrition. Steffi, Hayden, Greg
What's
is
up,
my
guys?
coach. Yeah, Greg's my coach and he's great. But there's like a level of stress now included with me going out to eat. Because if it's not a place that I know where we're going, where I can look at kind of what the calories look like before.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't count, okay, so I know you're not a huge counter, and that's totally fine. But just for the sake of, if you've never been on a diet and you just want to start looking at what you're eating, just track it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to count calories. I just want you to start tracking your food. You have no idea how much fat, carbs, protein. It's like something as simple as like having a chicken sandwich down the street at fucking Jack in the Box. It's got like 60 grams of fat in it and, 75 grams of carbs and then, 30 to 35 grams of protein.
You need to start to learn,
But that's like your full day's intake of fucking fat in
And
one
it's like
sandwich.
fake food.
Right.
And it's not real. And then you're really not even getting that much protein out of it.
No.
And it's so sad because you think, oh, this is going to be a healthy choice. And then you look at it. It's like, wow, that's really, what did they dip this in? Butter and then...
The craziest part about that is getting a sandwich from Jack in the Box when you can get their tacos.
Man, they're so good.
Those are really good.
2 for 99 cents?
Hell yeah.
I know what's up.
Yeah.
People have heard us talk on this podcast before about nutrient-dense foods. One of the biggest problems with foods that are not healthy for us is that you're constantly hungry because you're not getting the nutrients that you need. And so you're just in this ferocious eating state.
Cycle.
Yeah, you're so hungry. And even when you eat, it doesn't satisfy you.
I don't know. It's like going to Black Bear Diner, but I don't know what they put in their food. But if you go and eat there, you literally won't be hungry for another like 7 hours.
Oh yeah.
But then it's like you wasted your whole day
Right.
and you still need to get all your protein in. How athletic of me. Oh, you need to get your protein in. But it's super important. It seems so silly, but that's the most important part of your, day-to-day food.
Right.
And you can't even...
You don't even have calories to afford to really eat anything else because you had a giant ass then
it's
omelet and you had toast and
where the fuck are these
everything
gonna
else.
come from? Yeah, it's so dumb.
No, I agree with you about people are just they're not paying attention to what they're eating.
Yeah. So I mean, even if you don't want to count calories, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Don't count your fucking calories. But if you just start tracking what you're eating, it'll open up your eyes.
Yeah,
You're like,
it's a
man,
huge
I'm a
wake-up
fat
call.
ass. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, not to talk down on yourself, but just to open your eyes just a little bit and see what you're eating.
And everyone always talks about how different we are, and I fucking hate that. Oh, everybody's different. And we, everyone's really not that different. Human beings are human beings, and even the differences between men and women are not that great. We should be eating similar. We should be eating similarly at the very least. Now, you can pick, if you feel a ketogenic diet or a low-carb diet is going to fit your lifestyle and allow you to lose weight, you can kind of pick and choose on that. And then in terms of, whether you want to have carbohydrates because you want higher performance and stuff like that, you can pick and choose all these things. And yes, there will be some differences in, maybe Jessica can have 200 grams of carbs a day and maybe another girl can only have 100. to make the progress that they're looking for. But in general, we're not that. It's not that drastic. The differences come in the goals, and the differences can come with like the size of the person. You know, like Brian Shaw is a massive person, and he's got these huge goals. And Brian Shaw lifts more weight than him and Hapthor and some of these guys now. They lift more weight than anybody's ever lifted in the history of the planet. So
on a more regular basis.
Yeah, and they're doing some crazy stuff, and they got to figure out ways to recover from their workouts. So they have these really extreme diets. But again, in general, we should be eating similar foods. It doesn't have to be. I'm just tired of hearing that. I feel that's an excuse, and then everyone says everything in moderation. And yeah, you can have foods that are outside the box, but like the everything in moderation attitude, and we're all different, and saying these things, they don't actually help anybody.
Well,
our country is really fucking fat, and these things aren't helping.
If you have the control, then sure, everything in moderation. But if you don't, it's a slippery slope, and I'll be the first to tell you. Up until recently, it's like I have to question whether or not, like, I know if I have a craving, I'm like, at some point I need to satiate it, right? But I also know that if I satiate it too much, it is a slippery slope for me. Like, I will be right back to where I was.
But even if somebody was
But it's not fear. It's just like, I know myself now, and I know my traits and habits, and I know what I need to do, and I know what I don't need to do.
Right. Even if somebody was to come in here and just give us like some fresh oranges and stuff, and you're hungry, you might want to eat it, and you may actually eat the orange, but it's something that you probably think about, right? You're like, oh, should I have, okay, yeah, I can have that. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat it, right? It'd still be something you would at least think about, right?
Yeah, I mean, so even if I do this now, so I can say this, but if I've hit all my macros, whatever, for the day, and I'm still hungry at night, I'm going to go have some fucking fruit. Right. I'm going to go eat my strawberries, because that's like my favorite thing in the world. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
Right.
I don't give a shit.
Well, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters that much, too. And the reason why I say that, and the reason why I'll never say that calories don't matter, because I think that's a foolish statement. It's the only measure that we have to count. But I think the percentage in which they could be wrong is huge. And I think our counters and things like that could be massively off. And so, therefore, I think your calories have like about a 10% window. Food labels can be up to like 50% off. So
I think legally it's 20.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
But where's the control on that?
Yeah. But anyway, so 20% is a lot anyway, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever percentage it is that they are off, and like, who knows what your tri-tip steak, how many calories it really had versus somebody else's. Like, different cuts are going to look different ways. So I think you do have some calories to play with, whether it's plus or minus. Kind of hard to tell. But I've always used the scale. I've always just weighed myself. So rather than like weighing my food, I've always just weighed my own body. Like, what's my goal? Do I want to weigh more? If I want to weigh more, I check in every day, and I try to see if I'm heading towards weighing more. And then I just do the opposite. If I'm losing weight, I just start to see if am I weighing less. So I just kind of weigh the object that the food goes into rather than weighing the food itself, which is just a slightly different way of doing it. And it's just for me it works out easier. But people that like to count calories, I think it's fine. I think it's okay to count them. The main thing is just to be aware of what the hell it is you're doing.
Right. I mean, the body is a weird thing for me. So my current struggles right now is that I'm losing weight too fast, and I'm cutting it real close to my meat. It's starting to fuck with my leverages and whatever. In the last 6 weeks, my weight didn't budge for like a pound. Mm-hmm. It was so frustrating. My coach is like making these changes to my macros. I'm following them. I'm like doing everything. I'm like being super OCD about tracking. But then, in the last 2 weeks, it just, I don't know, it's like I've dropped like 5-6 pounds. It's really scary because it's starting to mess me up when it comes to my lifts, and I'm crying and I'm upset. My coach is mad. Sorry, Marcus. But I haven't changed anything. Mm-hmm. It's like my body just started reacting to it.
Right.
And I don't know why. Why now? Why now? I've been working on this for the last 6 weeks to
Right.
budget a little and nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like
There's been no changes in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
nothing major. No.
It's been all similar.
Yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes it's, sometimes it could be something small, but sometimes it's sometimes your body just takes time to get used to whatever it is you're eating.
Yeah.
Maybe the different fibers and different foods you were having, maybe it just took time, and who knows, maybe there's been a slight shift towards eating more fiber and more protein that you didn't account for or whatever.
I don't know. Whatever it is pissing me off. I got Marcus in here offering me burgers and a burrito yesterday.
That was funny.
Your metabolism, can be a really really finicky thing, but I think that sometimes when people get too crazy about counting their calories, I think they do get a little bit more stuck. I don't know if that's like a
It could be.
Emotional thing or like a hormonal thing, like you have, you're so freaking tied up about it that
Gotta hit my target.
yeah, you're so stressed about it.
Honestly,
that
that really could be it.
yeah. And there's also sleep. You get a little bit better sleep, you get a little bit more sleep here and there. That could really change things. I know, like, whenever I was competing, I always started to get more sleep. And then I'd always look at the scale and I'd be like, what? I'm trying to make the scale go up. What's happening? Why is it going down? And it's just simply because I'd go from getting 4 hours of sleep to getting 6 hours or 7 hours or whatever I was starting to get. What has been the hardest part of being able to adhere to the diet? This whole process has taken you about 2 years, and it seems like you're very stable with it now. In the very beginning, I remember you would waver here and there, but after a few months of kind of sticking with it, then it seemed like you stuck with it and never really looked back. So, what was the hardest part for you?
Social. So for those that don't know, I not only powerlift, but I'm also on an Australian rules football team. I play Aussie rules footy. It's similar to rugby in that everybody likes to go out and celebrate after with a lot of beer, a lot of drinks. So I unfortunately,
A lot of gay women in this sport too, by the way.
If you call me lesbian one more time. But and Rosie will attest to this too, and I think it's a struggle for her. And
Rosemary.
Rosie. She struggles with it, I think, still to this day because, her boyfriend Rob, very social guy. And so they're both very extroverted and they get their energy from other people. So they like to be out in social settings and be out and go do things. Me, I'm an introvert, so it wasn't that hard for me, but it is still kind of hard because I almost said bye to a lot of the relationships that I was holding on with that team.
Right.
I had more priorities aimed towards my health, and honestly, I'm not sad about it because I missed the people, don't get me wrong, but I was thinking about my dad, and I was thinking at him looking at me losing this weight, and if I started going off the deep end, going out drinking every weekend, then maybe he would lose some motivation for himself. And he didn't put that on me. I put that on myself.
Right.
But in my head, I was thinking, if I fall off, my dad might fall off. And I kind of want him around. I want to see him at my wedding or whatever it is. I want him to see me have kids. And
see your gigantic kids running around.
Yeah, at some point. And so that was more important to me. I prioritized that, my goals of losing weight and keeping my dad healthy. And also, I wanted to lift more. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be more athletic. Because honestly, that was like the time of my life when I was in college. Not to say college was the time of my life, because honestly, I've had a lot more fun since. But feeling good, not being out of breath when going upstairs, feeling confident in my own skin, being okay going out on dates, and like being myself. Because like, I know I'm great. But, like, if I don't have the confidence to share that, then they don't know I'm awesome.
Right.
I'm fucking awesome. But, you know what I mean? And it's a small thing that really makes a huge difference. And I kind of had to say bye to that social aspect of going out all the time and going out to bars and doing things like that. Just because it was like, it wasn't that important.
Yeah.
At the end
How
of the day.
old were you when you kind of had that realization?
23, 24,
That's huge.
24 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when I was 24, I was kind of a shithead, but like there's no way I would have had any kind of thought of like that, of thinking whether it be about my dad or,
But I mean, if
I
you
wasn't
saw my
competing,
dad,
but
yeah.
you know,
I just was worried. I was like, this
Yeah.
guy's, like, what
Has
are we
your dad
gonna do?
had health issues?
No. Really, surprisingly, yeah, anytime he got blood work done, he was okay. But he was on blood pressure medication, so I think he may
He definitely
no
was
longer.
pre-diabetic. There's no question. He was pre-diabetic. I can just tell from the photos and when I first met him.
Yeah, and then, his thyroid stuff, he's had a few surgeries and stuff, and just like his inability to kind of be mobile, really, just mobile, moving, living life, getting out, having to park really close, and
Yeah.
having to have the cart because he needed something to lean on, or
Right.
not being able to go to an amusement park.
Right.
That sucked.
Yeah,
He would have to do weird things to get
Yeah.
into the rides.
People just take these they just take these things as if like it's just part of life. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm getting older. We're going to grow old and fat together. And that's what people think. And like, oh yeah, I'm old, so yeah, of course my knees are supposed to hurt and my back is supposed to hurt, and I'm not supposed to be able to get in and out of the car. Yeah, okay. And maybe that's when you're old, but being old is like 80, 90 years old. Not anything before that. If you're jacked up before that, there's something else. Some people just have these severe medical issues, and who knows why. People have all kinds of crazy things happen. But for the most part, you should feel pretty damn good. You should feel strong. You should feel excited. You should feel that you're giving yourself the best shot every single day to succeed, to feed yourself well, to feel good, to be with your family, to do fun things. But the fact is that it's easier to be sad. It's easier to have that drink. It's easier to hang out with your friends and just eat whatever. But what kind of life is that? Like, I think that's a shitty life. It seems like it's fun, but I think it fucking sucks, to be honest with you. Like, I have never, for myself personally, I've never been in those situations. Like, I don't like those situations. I don't mind going out once in a while with a couple friends, but like, I've never been a guy to like go hit a bar with some friends and act like an asshole and drink beer and just, I don't know. Just to me, it's always seemed, I always put that as being like extremely negative. There was not one positive thing about it for me. I was like, oh, I'm going to be fucking hungover the next day. And then what? Like, I want to train. I want to wake up the next day and I want to lift.
So that's what it turned into for me. Because I used to,
I always looked at those people as losers. I'm like, they're just going to be spinning their wheels their whole life. I'm not hanging out with them.
Yeah, so, I mean, I didn't really party in college. So I was in sports, and that's what was important to me when I was in college. I didn't sleep around. I didn't have boyfriends. I didn't.
Just kicking some ass.
Actually, just kidding. I had a boyfriend during college, so that's probably why I didn't sleep around. And I didn't drink a lot. It was like maybe once a year that I would get really drunk, but that was it. That was like the one time, one shot a year, And I didn't start drinking until after college, like really drinking.
When did the heroin come in?
Oh my God.
As soon as you started working here, you're like, I need something to...
Yeah.
Got to ride the lightning.
Need something to take me out of my misery.
Yeah. Based from like experience when I was younger, and I would drink like every night, like every day. It was because I was very unhappy, and so I used the alcohol to kind of escape from that like shitty feelings and whatnot. But you're right. I was a loser. Like, but because I felt like I had nothing going for me.
Right.
So it was like, well, fuck, I'm doing this right now with these losers over here.
It's amazing. You sit around, you hang out with your buddies, and you drink, and you talk about what a bunch of losers everybody else is.
Yep. Talk shit all day.
Yeah, it's just a super negative headspace because you get drunk and your inhibitions go. So you kind of, all that stuff you've been holding on to all day, which, okay, don't get me wrong too. At the, every once in a while, that's probably what you need. But to do that every weekend, it puts you in a really negative headspace.
Yeah.
And a depression type thing. So for me, I mean, there are a few other factors that have contributed to my weight gain in the last 4 years. Outside of just going out and drinking.
Yeah.
Like depression and
depression was a huge issue with me. That's why like I said, I use it to kind of like escape. like from just feeling like shit right now.
I just love a good depression nap. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just
when
like
that's when you
don't
don't
want to
feel
leave
it.
the house. Yeah.
You
You
don't
don't want to leave your room. Don't get me wrong. I still have those too. I do. But when you're more active and you have goals, like for me, it's strength goals. So I want to
Right.
be stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so looking awesome is great, but I want to be stronger. I want to I want to bench 2 plates so I can so I can hang out with the boys, like and on bench day, I want to be able to like, hey Smokey, I benched 2 plates. Like
Yeah.
that would be so cool. And I'm really close and that's what I want to do. So
2 plates.
yeah, I mean, it's just like little things like that. That's what I had my eye on, and I didn't. Yeah, it sucked losing some friends because I wasn't drinking every weekend. But when they figure that out for themselves, they'll probably not be as upset with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Andrew and
Rosie.
I talked about, some of the things that happen here. Do you ever feel weird talking about this job to other people?
Yeah, people go, "What do you do?"
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
then
like, what do I not do?
yeah, it's hard to explain. And then like your buddies that maybe just uh, drink often and just kind of have the same things going on all the time, or even like a relative. You kind of feel weird talking to them if they're asking you like, "Hey, how's it?" Like they're really asking how it's going.
Mhm.
It's not like just a somebody see at a coffee
Hey,
shop
how's
or
it going?
something. Yeah, they're really into what you have to say, and you kind of can't. You almost feel like you can't share it with them because you're hanging out with some really high end people. You're like, oh, this week we hung out with Brian Shaw.
Mhm.
He's, world, 4-time world's strongest man. And then, we just, at work we all decided just to go to a movie for the day, or like the different fun things that happen here. It feels like you can't share it all the time with people.
Because people get, oh well.
Well, I mean, it's just because you're not trying to like. You
don't have a regular job.
Oh.
You can go suck a dick. I work my ass off.
Yeah, well, it's tough to kind of, to tell people what we do, because it's like, oh, like if you ask me like, hey, how you doing? Like, man, fucking got to work overtime and my boss fucking sucks and like pay is horrible and like, I just can't wait to get out of there. Anyways, what are you up to? How's work? It's like,
Yeah.
I was just hanging out with Steffi Cohen and
My boss is great.
yeah. Just got some dope sunglasses.
Although
for my
he doesn't
birthday.
even, I know, he doesn't even like us calling him his boss.
Yeah.
He made that we had like a speech. I was like, I don't want to be called your boss. Okay.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I feel like Smokey's more my boss.
Yeah, and he
Just don't tell him that. Though.
And I think he
know.
likes that.
He likes that general manager cap.
Yeah.
Well, I like the relationships in here, and that's kind of back to what we were talking about in the very beginning of the show. I like being involved with you guys. I have fun with you guys. I feel that that's the best way that this company will move forward. And the reason why I mentioned that that little spiel that I did the other day about we're gonna hurt each other's feelings. Like everyone needs to be aware of that. Like we're gonna get so close in here that we're gonna continue to get closer. Like more crazy shit will happen, both good and bad. And the rough times and hard times that we all go through together and the good times will all just draw us in closer. And then we're gonna hurt each other's feelings. Like I'm gonna say something to Andrew one day, and he's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" And then he's going to come complain to you about it, and then we'll have to probably sit down and all talk about it. And like some people might cry, and I mean, there's just these things that are going to happen. They're going to be very sensitive because it's not about work anymore, and that was my whole goal in the first place. Which I'm really happy that it's not really just about the actual work, and it shouldn't be because fuck work.
I mean, it's weird because we have like our inner office relationships. But we also have the gym relationships, and that's also like completely different.
Yeah.
You're able to, I mean, there's no HR in the gym.
There you go.
We have one now, but before,
April.
I know April, love April. But before then it was, kind of free reign, and you kind of tiptoe that line of like, this could be the thing that sets someone over the edge. Let's do it.
There's that button.
There's that button. Boop. Marcus used to do. I used to hate Marcus. He was so mean to me. He couldn't stand me. And I just wanted him to like me.
Yeah.
So it was like the worst feeling in the world. It was really great because even Smoke, it was bad when Steven notices. And for those of you who don't know who Steven is, it's Lil Smokey.
Mm-hmm.
Little Smokey.
Yeah, when he notices, it's bad. But we transitioned past that. We're friends now. He sits in my office sometimes.
How did you get the nickname, the fertile female?
YouTube.
So it was a
Anybody want to
YouTube
answer
comment.
that question? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
YouTube comment. I think it was when DLB was here. DLB and Rob.
That long ago.
That was before I don't know if I worked here or not.
Yeah, because I was right when I started.
Well, we started about the same time.
Yeah.
My followers on YouTube, the followers of
Super Training 06.
yeah,
Oh,
Mark Bell's Slingshot
That's
Now.
There
right.
you go on
It-
YouTube.
Yeah.
These guys need to beat it a little bit more. They need to whack off a little bit more or something, or they need to get some a little bit more because every time there's a female, they flip out.
True to form. Every time
They can't handle it.
No,
go
they'll-
to minute mark 206.
I was gonna say they'll time code it and say you're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah. And I was actually pretty thick then too. So when I was like, oh my god, that's when you picked me out to say that, in that frame, that's what.
Brian
But
Shaw
all
needs
the
to mate
comments-
with this girl.
So then when Brian
All
Shaw
the comments
had
are
his,
about impregnating you.
yeah, and then in Brian Shaw's channel, he put that Lululemon thing out, and of course I'm in the background. He's
Yeah.
like, they should have babies.
yeah. Some strong man needs to impregnate her.
Yeah, that's the common one.
Yeah.
Some strong man needs to.
Does that work?
No.
Does that work on you? Does that?
Okay, so it's a little weird when
you don't
people
click
that
on that
don't know me
profile?
call the fertile female. Okay,
that's pretty
you're not
tight.
Mark. You're not Smokey. You aren't Rosemary.
But you are fertile.
But don't that's weird, right? Unless you're my close friend or family, don't fucking call me that. I don't know.
Has anybody
you.
asked you to autograph anything yet?
No.
It'll happen, and then you'll write Jessica, and they'll be like, "What's
What
can you
is
write?
that?
Can you write fertile female?"
When I
on
went
there?
to the Arnold last year, was my first experience of people asking me for pictures.
That was cool.
And Jesse was so funny because Jesse's in the back, and he's like,
Oh, Jesse gets.
I
so
watched him
excited.
take a picture, and he goes, "It's your first picture of a picture." And I was like, "This isn't the first person that asked me for a photo." And he goes, "No one else has to know that." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
There you
The
go.
best part too about the Arnold was last year. I think I posted a picture of Brian or something, and someone goes, "Oh my God, I knew that was you when you walked by. I was gonna ask for a picture, but I had a Chick-fil-A sandwich in my mouth." I
great.
died. It was the funniest thing on the planet. And then literally the next day he asked me for a photo.
That's
Yeah, the
awesome.
YouTube comments about you are some of the best ones, I think.
They're pretty graphic sometimes.
She's breeding material. Look
Just
at those hips.
What am I, a fucking horse?
Well,
Childbearing hips.
actually,
Hold the commentary
I was
over
gonna say,
there.
well, Smokey came in, and then somewhere somebody said horse. I don't. It's too far back to
What
go.
did Smokey say?
Just Smokey things. But someone else said that you're hot,
You
and
go,
yeah. But anyway,
You're very pretty.
there you go.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Mark goes, "You're like the sister I never wanted."
That is true.
Yeah.
You're
All the time.
When did I don't know? Did you ever realize you're kind of a savage on social media?
So I'm very blunt.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
I don't know. I just want to
I don't really cut.
this one
Oh
right here
God, that's such a good one.
because this came from your brain.
It did. So here's the thing. A lot of the fun videos that happen here at ST sometimes come from my brain. I just don't know how to possibly put them into the universe. So I use the media team to put it in there. And if the song was playing, it'd be even better.
I know. I just don't want it to get pulled off of YouTube.
Yeah. But it's pretty great.
Cool.
So-
And so what are the weight differences right here in these two different pools?
2 pounds.
Damn.
But that was in my meat,
Mhm.
and that was. I didn't ship myself there. RPE, I didn't poop my pants.
This is 405 right there.
No, it's 410.
Oh. Oh, hey now.
Yeah. But also, I was probably about 15 pounds heavier there.
Mm.
And that was in March.
Do you want to continue to lose weight?
I don't know. Yes. I mean, so it'd be cool. But, like, I don't know what that means for strength. It just means I have to really rebuild.
And also, too, like, how much weight do you think you might want to lose? Do you have, like, kind of a goal?
I have friends that told me if I'm under a certain amount of weight that we can no longer be friends. So.
Oh.
But I don't know. I kind of want to see where we're at and see, because it's really different. I can't even compare from like college because in college, I didn't have too much muscle mass on me. And although I was at a certain weight,
yeah.
I still was like skinny fat, you know?
Do you feel good?
Yeah,
You know, like,
I think I look great.
Pictures of you from like these
I mean, even
9 million weddings that you've had to go to.
I
and
know.
Stuff. Yeah, you look good.
So even in the post of you benching today, I'm side spotting, but I was looking at it and I was like, wow, like I have definition in my arms. That's cool. I've never had that before. Like,
that's awesome.
And when I turn to the side, you don't see my fupa as much. My specialty fupa hat. But
Upper
pelvic area.
Oh.
Oh, this whole time
private.
I had it wrong.
I was gonna say I thought it was private area.
I was way off.
But you can't say that. You're not supposed to say that on the air.
Sorry.
First person. Now
you
we
mentioned
just got kicked off.
Having some depression and some anxiety. What was the obviously stuff like that doesn't go away, but with these goals and kind of responsibilities and the diet and stuff, has it helped? Have those things made you have less of that?
Yeah, because I just have to have more control over certain things. So when I'm more in control of what's going on, I have less feel like. Usually when I'm anxious or depressed, I just feel like there's so many things going on. It's chaos. It's out of my control. And not that I'm a control freak. I kind of am, but I'm not. It's one of those things that kind of like soothes me that I have this going on and I can focus on this. And then I don't have time to sit there and focus on all these other things that I can't control. So I'm working on like realistic things, and things that I can make work every day. And that helps me combat my depression or my anxiety, or because then when you're anxious, you're focusing on things that are really just things that might happen in the future, but you need to be in the now, kind of right now.
Yeah, things that you worry about are oftentimes things that actually never happen,
right?
And there's scenarios, and even anxiety. If I do this for work, then it's going to cause this reaction. And it's like, well, it may or may not. Maybe you should check and find out, like if, Andrew puts together a certain video or photo and posts it or whatever, he might think, oh, well, Mark might be pissed if I post this too early or post this at the wrong, or whatever the case is. But he could, take a couple extra seconds to think about it and say, oh, well, maybe I'll just ask. And then you just ask, and then it's not really about having anxiety anymore. It's more about like just kind of waiting until you find out what happens, right? And then you don't have to worry about like what the outcome is, because you think basically that you kind of checked everything, you crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's in a way. What do you think the main thing that's facing people that are your age today with anxiety and depression? Because I hear so many people say it, and there's so many different levels to it. Obviously, there's some people that are really, really suffering and have some major problems, and there's other people I think that probably are just sharing just because I don't know, maybe they want to get a little sympathy on social media or something. But aside from that, like what do you think are some of the major things facing people today that are causing this? Because there's more of it than ever.
I think the expectations have grown exponentially, but also social media. It's huge. I don't think everyone does this, and I don't think that we should put everybody in this box that they do this, that they portray a certain self-image on social media, Because you're going to, at the end of the day, you're still going to portray yourself. And a little bit of that stuff will sneak out. But I think.
Even portraying yourself correctly, you're going to always portray the best things that happen.
Right.
You're not going to always portray like the worst things that happen. So even a particular photo from yourself or a particular, like,
I'm always going to pick the photo that makes me look,
yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion,
of
the
course.
best.
It's like the highlights
Right.
of your life. It's not the
100%.
lowlights.
Right. And two, like, over time, expectations and bars have been raised. And people often think that everybody is raising with those. And so they get this anxious, like, oh, I have to meet those same expectations. No, you need to meet your own. Like, comparison is so big. Like, just stop fucking comparing yourself to other people. I think that's a huge thing. Like, just work on your own shit. Like, work on you. And don't compare other people's expectations with yours. Because they think, they have to keep up. No, you need to keep up with yourself. And, your daily win, like, I may not have been able to go on the Stairmaster today for 45 minutes at 3 a.m. like some other bodybuilder chick that we follow on Instagram does. But I was able to go on a 10-minute walk after I ate at lunch at work. And then I did it again when I got home instead of sitting down on the couch and watching TV. And then when I came in, I was motivated enough to go make my food for tomorrow. Like, that could be a daily win. But we look at these things and we're like, that's different. She's doing this. I should be able to do this. It's like, no. You are in two different worlds. Live in your own. Stay in your lane. Do your thing. Ain't nobody going to stop your success. Only you are. And if people around you are going to start comparing, like, oh, well, someone so-and-so did this. It's like, bye. Bye-bye. You can leave me. I don't need you. You want people that are there going to be clapping you on and making sure you're doing good. There's enough success in the world for everybody. There's enough room at the table for everybody. Like, this whole comparing, and it's a danger. It's a black hole. Social media sometimes is a black hole, and you know that.
Oh, hell yeah. I know. That's why I got the hell off of there. I think that rather than comparing, we're always going to compare. We're always going to be guilty. You're always going to compare yourself to how you look, how you stack up against somebody else. Every time you go to the urinal, you're always going to kind of check to see if the guy next to you is bigger. Anyway, what was I saying? You're always going to compare yourself to other people.
Totally.
And it's just like
Natural.
It's very natural. But maybe rather than compare, maybe we should like try to rationalize ourselves versus other people. Maybe not have like this measuring stick of, oh man, like I don't measure up to what they are.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more like
a pace car.
Yeah, maybe it's more like, oh wow, like man, that's crazy that guy was able to do that, or that girl was able to do that, or but you try to make some sense of it, like you're saying with this person doing cardio at 3 a.m. for 45 minutes, and you getting in 2 10-minute walks. Yes, it's half the amount of exercise, but it's the best thing for you at the time that you're doing it. Maybe this other person that's waking up at 3 a.m., maybe that's a rational way for them to live their life, because maybe they're a competitive figure or fitness girl.
Right.
And then so why, if you have a, this is sort of a 9 to 5, if you have like a 9 to 5, it's like a not even 9 to 5, so it's like 24/7. But if you have a job and you can't just play fitness all day long, and you have other responsibilities, maybe that 45 minutes of cardio doesn't make sense, because you might do that cardio at 3 a.m. and you might do it for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It might yield some great results. You might lose the 40 pounds that you lost over 2 years, and you might have lost it faster. You might have lost it in 6 months. But what happens when that doesn't fit your lifestyle is that unravels and it comes undone, and you're trying to live up to being somebody else. And at some point, it just doesn't work anymore. And then what happens? You gain back 40 pounds probably, and then some. It all just kind of unravels and it all falls apart. And it just makes you not feel good about yourself. Yeah, I kind of use social media as that pit as well, and it's
Sometimes it's great.
yeah, well, it could be very uplifting.
Yeah.
It could be extremely motivational. It can be really fun. I mean, making your own post and customizing it, and like, it definitely gives you a thrill. I mean, there's studies that show your heart rate goes up, your endorphins. People like your post, makes you feel good. People make fun comments on it. You're like, oh, this
Yeah.
is cool. But then there's kind of the other side of it. You want to share like a big deadlift. You're like, oh, check it out. I deadlifted 410 for 2.
And some asshole comes on there. It's like, this chick.
Why don't you learn some form, bitch? And it's like, whoa, what the hell's
How
going
tall
on?
are you?
I think in March, so I post, Mark slipped on a 2.5 and like maybe bench 200 for like 2. And it was like the first time I'd ever touched the weight, you know? And he made this post on his own. He made it on his own Instagram. Someone goes, yeah, but that bitch is over 200 pounds. It's not exciting. I'm like, you can go fuck yourself.
Jeez.
I was like, wow, no one can be happy for anybody. You just had to like, you had to stick that knife in and twist it around a little bit. Okay, cool. Like, someone's not getting any at home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're just, someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, apparently.
How tall are you?
I get that, well, I get that not even on social, well, I get that a lot on social media, but I also get it a lot at gas stations.
Oh, just randomly, like.
Yeah. Do you play sports?
Mm.
You play basketball?
Oh, yeah.
That's the pickup
I'd
line?
imagine.
Yeah.
What should other girls know that grow up, that grow up tall, that grow up big? What would you kind of like them to know? Like some girl that's young and that maybe gets kind of picked on or teased for being big or for being heavy. What's some experience that you have that would maybe help them?
Honestly, just controlling what you want to control and making a decision. So if you want to be bigger, do your thing. But also be comfortable and confident in that. And like, I don't know, my huge thing is like confidence. I've finally found my confidence. I'm a fucking light up in this bitch. And I think it's really special when you find that in yourself, genuinely. Not that shit that you spray with a can. Oh, look how new it is. And no, like it's legit. It comes from in you, and other people pick up on it. That's what I want people to look for. I don't know how to do it, other than like for me, my way was taking control of what I could control, making better decisions, and being better with my food and strength and being more athletic. That was like my thing. Now, you won't always be in athletics. I mean, if you're like my sister, she loves doing her makeup, but it puts her in like a zen place. And like, that's like her thing.
She wears makeup?
Yeah. And she's good at it. But, like some people want to say, well, like, why do you wear all that makeup? Like, you think you're ugly? It's like, no, like it just puts her in a good headspace.
It's fun.
She doesn't need it, but she likes to do it. And that's,
Right.
that's what builds her confidence. She's like, I have this skill that I can transform. I can transform people. I can transform myself. Like, that's fucking cool. If you find your thing, mine just happens to be lifting weights.
Right. Or
being, doing cool things like tackling people. I love that. I could get a rise out of it.
Just smashing somebody?
Yeah. If you just hit someone so hard, you got up, you're like, oh, that was sick. But like, they don't feel that way, Like, I'm not doing it to hurt people, but it feels good. Yeah.
It does. It feels amazing.
Yeah. Some girls, they might find out that they like it. And like, for me, Australian rules football is just also another like outlet. But like finding your outlet, whatever that is.
I think it's a big problem of today. I think that it's hard for people to kind of find their confidence. There's a lot less participation in sports. And I don't think that sports are everything. And
No.
I don't think that every kid necessarily has to play a sport. But a sport is a great place to learn these things. And there's certain things that you learn physically that you just can't learn any other way. And somebody might be able to say the same thing about education or the same thing about music. Maybe somebody could say the same thing about art, but like I don't have that much experience with some of those other things, so I don't know how those things make you feel, but I would imagine it's probably similar. But a lot of times it's going to come from something physical because when it's physical, your body gets really drained and fatigued, and you have to kind of override that process, and you have to fight through it. Much like life is a giant kick in the balls. It's a giant tidal wave of things that you sometimes can't control that are very hurtful and very harmful. And how do we cope with these things? You have to be able to kind of fight through that resistance. And you feel that when you're in the gym. It's like, okay, there's this resistance on my back, or there's resistance in my hands, and I have to figure out a way to overcome this resistance. The only way to overcome the resistance is with brute force and a mentality and a positive mindset and a positive, even your own body language can play into it. You know, sometimes you're feeling mopey, right? And you go to do a squat and you're like, ah. And how bad does everything hurt 10 times worse, you know, in your knee or your back or whatever the case is? And you're feeling everything at that point. Meanwhile, the week before, you were totally fine and you rifled right through it. But when the workout is over, you can kind of have that conversation with yourself. Or if you have a training partner, they can go over some of that with you and say, hey, you know what? You weren't that way last week. And the reason why is it's because it's in your damn head. You need to get out of your own head. You need to, you know, last week when you came in here, you had fun when you were training. This week when you came in, you were just, whatever it was, you were just wearing it from rep number 1.
Yeah.
And you can like make shit hurt. You know, I've seen Emilio.
Andrew.
I've seen Emilio. We're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
I've seen Emilio do some squats when he first came into the gym, and he wanted to kind of prove to people that he's strong, and he was trying to move these weights around real aggressively. Well, with 1 plate, 2 plates, and 3 plates, he just looked like he was going to die. He was like turning purple, and he was just like doing all this crazy stuff. And I was like, dude, just relax, just lift, and don't show the pain, don't show the effort in your face. Just be stoic. Teach your body that ain't shit. That weight that you have on the bar, it's nothing. It's not going to move you. You know, powerlifting is all about getting yourself into a position and maintaining that position through X amount of range of motion, whatever's required for a particular competition. But you pick up those big weights and you say, you know what? This weight ain't moving me anywhere. I'm in control of this. This is where this weight is going. And when you've done that with 1,000 pounds in a squat, and you've done that with 800 pounds in a bench press, you can't help but feel good every day and feel confident about yourself. It can really build you into something that you never imagined you could be.
Yeah, well, it's like what you were getting at about pushing against resistance with just straight brute force, and the payoff. It's acute stress versus chronic stress.
Right.
You know, we're all stressed out, like fuck, I got these bills, like bank accounts like looking real low. But when you successfully get past that bill, there's no huge reward at the end of it. Your body doesn't quite feel or understand that the stress is over.
Right.
So all that cortisol and all that stays there. However, when you do get under the bar and you successfully make that lift, it's like, oh shit, I had enough strength to get through this. And unfortunately, not a lot of people understand what that feels like, and they may not ever experience it. So it's kind of a bummer. But, you know, once you get through it, you know, all the endorphins and everything gets moving again, and you feel great.
And some people listen to this podcast that maybe they don't love fitness, maybe they don't love working out. And you know, a lot of the people do that listen to this show, but you can do that through other means. I'm just trying to share with you, and Jessica's trying to share with you, like the way that we've been able to overcome anything has been, you know, through feeling it through a sport or through something physical. She mentioned her sister has felt it through makeup. Like who knows what it might be for you, but you can push yourself in anything. You push yourself in education, or you can push yourself to learn and acquire a skill. Yesterday we talked a lot about that, how you force yourself to learn stuff and force yourself to become better. You know, I'm always talking about do more, be more. Jessica, I think, has learned that lesson. The more that you do, the more that you can do. It's
The
like
more you can get out of stuff.
it's just so much easier to handle shit when you've done shit. And it's so easy to sit on the couch when you sit on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's really rare. I don't know if you guys ever noticed. It's really rare for you guys to ever see me sitting down in the gym, and part of that is just that I know if I sit down, I'm going to sit down, so I don't sit down. The only time I sit down is to do a shoulder press. I try to continue to move, even if I feel like I need it in between a set of squats or something. I won't do it. Because I want to try to keep moving. I'm there to exercise. I'm there to move. And I don't want to slow the momentum down for anything.
Damn.
I don't know, all this fitness stuff is
so fitnessy.
I know.
It's making me hungry.
Well, don't look at me. I don't know, Mark, we did a lot of stuff before, like when I was larger. Mark would just pick me up and say, "You're coming with me today," and do that. But it's like same thing in work. It's like if you just start doing stuff, even if you aren't necessarily asked for to do it, like something comes out of it. People take notice. So, and that's one thing here too. It's like, yeah, maybe I'm not being paid to do that. And yeah, other people at other companies wouldn't do half the shit that I do with my job title, but you get something out of it at some point. And if you don't, then that's when you make the decision that it's time for you to move on, right? But usually here at ST, even if it's a year or whatever, however long, it's like people take notice and do things. Like Andrew, when he first started, was just taking photos. Now look at him. Smokey, when he first started, was just doing ad sales. And he made a decision and a risk to come over here, and it worked out for him.
Right.
I made a leap of faith, took a job pay cut to come here. I worked customer service. That was fun. Now look at what I had no idea what I was going to be doing when I came here. And 6-7 months into the job, I had a new title, and we got someone else to do. Right. I was doing 2 jobs. It's like customer service.
That's probably going to happen with Emilio too.
Yep.
Emilio cleans the gym, cleans the bathrooms. He started to teach himself media shit. He's learning stuff all the time. He sent me videos all the time. The first video that he sent me, it couldn't have been any worse. I mean, he couldn't have done a worse job. I can't even believe he sent it to me at all.
Poor guy.
Well, I wouldn't have sent it to anybody. I would have really covered up the fact that I don't know what I'm doing, and I would have just edited chronologically, and I would have kept it really safe and simple. But he at least tried to do some stuff. But what I saw was from one video to the next, there was a huge amount of improvement. I was like, you know what? This shit would be great on our YouTube channel. And the way that he goes around and messes with everybody, and it definitely fits a lot of our style. But the same thing will most likely happen to him. It will be probably just a few more weeks or months until we look into hiring someone that cleans the gym, and he won't have to worry about that. He'll be doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be stoked.
It's like Chris, he's doing high level commercial type stuff.
Real commercials.
Real shit, stuff that he could really be proud of and take to another employer if you whenever, and they would be like, "Holy shit, that's cool."
Chris Griffin is definitely a guy that I realize I can't have on lockdown forever.
Yeah, you can't lock down that potential.
I know it's a lot. It's like this ball of energy, and it will just it'll just explode, and he'll end up doing something else. But I'm keeping him here for now, as long as I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. So you think about where we've all come from, and so here's the thing. This is my biggest pet peeve, and I'm glad I get to say it. People go, "Oh, you're so lucky. You get to do all these things." It's like, I want to go work for you, Mark. It's just dude, take a fucking leap of faith and do something about it. If that's what you really want to do, then get your ass on a plane and come over here. Or people go, "Oh, I really want to get on the podcast." Dude, if you have a good story and you want to be on the podcast, get a hold of Andrew. Y'all talk about it. But if you're willing to stick your neck out and take this leap of faith and this chance because you really feel like your story is what needs to be heard, then do it. But everyone always says that.
Oh, if I lived closer, I would totally take a job just doing whatever you guys needed.
Austin Baumgartner used to drive from the Bay just to work out
Mm-hmm.
with Mark. And this is before it was all popular and shit. He used to go out of his way to drive a few hours, to come work out for a few hours, and then drive a few hours back home. And if you guys know the Bay, the traffic's awful. And the fact that he voluntarily wanted to do this, to be around Mark, and to lift and be and live better, like, there's no excuses. So when I see people that say that stuff, that really bugs me. Because I know Mark won't ever say, I mean, he might, but he probably won't ever say it. How annoying that is.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
if I had that opportunity, you shut your mouth. Everyone has an opportunity. You put yourself in that spot. So if you really want to take a leap of faith, you do it.
Smokey just checked in. She's still talking. There it is.
you sounded just like him.
Yeah,
so
I
weird.
thought Smokey was on the podcast.
Oh my god.
How did that happen?
Kind of sound.
And you got to do the finger.
Come for me, Smokey.
That's how he sounds to you.
Well, when he gets going.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Who? Yeah, he does that a lot.
He yells.
before he hits up his benches.
I was being so supportive of him yesterday, and he gave me the finger. He was like,
Like, too much?
yeah, I was like, there you go, buddy. He was like, oh, fuck.
Like, killed it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Do you want to?
How hard is it to work here?
I love working here.
'Cause
I
I think-
love my job.
Because I think people think it's easy though too.
No. See, on Monday, I was up till 1 a.m. making sure things were up.
And you were also here last night. Like while I was leaving, you and Terrell were like checking somebody out. Like they were like they were buying
on Tuesday.
something.
On Tuesday, I was here till 10.
Yeah.
And no one. I mean, no one's here to see that, right? You know, like Marcus was like logging up and making sure everybody was out of the gym or whatever. But I was still here till 10. You know, no, like Mark didn't see that. Smokey didn't see that. You work, and then that happens a lot though. Like, I know for a fact, Josh, Kim, and Chris Griffin were here till 8 or 9 on Monday, and no one else was here to see that. You know, like we don't go, hey, check us out, leaving at 10 p.m. You know, like we don't do that. Like we work really hard, and a lot of times it's by ourselves or without a lot of eyes.
Yeah, there's no one telling us, hey, just you can't go home until you do this and this
Smokey
and this.
has to tell me to go home sometimes. He's like, do you have a life?
Well, Smokey had to force Andrew to take vacation time.
That's good.
He's like, you need to take some damn vacation.
No, I showed up here and he's like, you can't be here. I'm like, haha, yeah. Well, what do you like? What? Why? What did I do? And he's like, no, you don't understand. You can't be here. You have to
Yeah.
take time off. I'm like,
Yeah. Smokey's the same way though. I'm glad he took a vacation this year, but he's the same way. Like we all kind of have the same work ethic.
yeah,
You know, I'm here 7 days a week. Steven's here 7 days a week.
But I don't think that would happen unless we had, we have a good relationship.
Yeah, it's
We're
like I like my work relationships.
Yeah.
They're more than just
yeah.
hey, I see you in the office.
Right. Or
40 hours a week.
if one of the links in the chain was like really weak, and we're like kind of all trying to pick up the slack for one person.
Out.
Right. I mean,
Bye.
obviously, but
We
like
don't need you.
It's like I'm down to like before the seminar. I was here way too long, but I'm totally fine because I worked with like everybody that day.
Yeah.
And then like by the end of the night, it was like me and Griffin, we were still here, but like of course I'm going to bust my ass because he's still here with me.
Yeah.
And in the morning I was squatting with Mark, and throughout the whole day, like Smokey helped me. Even Paul, the sound guy, came and helped me out. Like,
I mean, it's just one of those things here where everybody has their own specific job, sure, but if we ever needed help, someone would go and help.
All right.
And if Steven's talking trash,
yeah, he just said Chris's bench is weak.
oh, we benched the same yesterday.
Who have been some of the biggest influences in your life? I know your dad, has been a huge, huge influence on you. And, I love when he comes around. And part of the reason why I was so excited to be able to have any impact on anything he's done. Is just because he is so fun to be around.
And he did check in. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Oh shit!
Okay, hey, Dad.
Yeah.
But I also love that he's so supportive of you. I think that's great.
Yeah, my dad was there at every race during college, every weekend. He just wanted to be there and be supportive.
Remember when he came to me about the like keto carnivore diet?
Yeah, he doesn't know. He just wants to like check in, and know.
But remember what he said to me?
What did he say?
He's like, I'm really, really concerned about this diet. He's like, Mark, I haven't farted in 3 weeks.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
He's like, and that's kind of what I'm known for.
He used to clear out gyms.
I was
Can't
like,
take
hey,
my identity away from me.
I said,
I was in
listen, man,
club
I'm so
volleyball.
sorry.
I was in club volleyball, and at one point he farted and cleared out the entire gym. And this is like a massive gym. If you've ever been at a college, at a club volleyball
He's an
tournament.
impressive guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got.
It was like something had crawled up his ass and died.
Not everyone has talent
That was
like that.
that was a regular. So when Marcus, starts to fuck with me about farting on my stuff, I'm just like, you don't even hit what I've experienced in my life. Like, you could take a shit in my office, and I probably wouldn't even
Smell
notice.
a lot better than what your
Yeah.
dad's done over the years.
Yeah, like it's like permanently, it's like in my DNA. Oh yeah, and I don't know who wrote that. I still don't know, but Marcus is the one that took the picture because you can see him in the reflection. But he sent it to me, and I still don't know who wrote it.
It's really nice handwriting.
Yeah.
Who writes like that?
Maybe Rosemary.
Oh.
Mm.
But
Where
when I
was it?
do fart, I do say, that's a song on my people. Oh, yeah. I have gas. It's normal. Girls fart or puff.
No, they don't.
They puff. My friend Noelle in rowing would say that. Girls don't fart, they puff.
My God. Who's been an influence in your life that's helped you over the years?
My grandma, for sure. On
Oh,
my
yeah?
dad's side, yeah. She's still working. She's old. She still works full time. She works for the church.
You spent a lot of time with her when you were a kid?
No, but we would go over there every week. I never had
That's pretty frequent.
It's free. I think it's frequent.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
even
Yeah, with a grandparent, yeah.
we go over every Sunday. Was Grandma's day, and we would go over and hang out.
What does she do?
She works for like a construction company. She does, I think, the accounting or
Yeah.
billing or something. But she also does it for the church, and she gives her 10%. She gives her tithe. She used to be a Sunday school teacher. She's like that. She's never had a smoke or drink in her life. Just took care of her brother who, was sick for a really long time because he fell off a bunk bed.
Damn.
And she took care of her mom. She takes care of the family like she can. I mean, to a fault almost. Can't say no.
She's kind of the glue.
Yeah, but she's the glue for sure. She's the one thing that would keep my whole family coming together on the weekends to come see
Every
her.
family needs somebody like that.
And it's gonna suck when that's no longer the case. Like I'm older and it's been a long time, but I actually got to see my grandma this last weekend. It was really good, even though it was for only a few hours.
Yeah, that's cool.
She's so sweet though, and she's so little. She's so proud. She's like, oh my God, I see all the stuff you're doing.
Is
and
everyone's grandma little?
She's shrinking. So I told her that. I was like, Grandma, you're shrinking. She was like, I know. I was thinking about doing that yoga thing. Because there's like yoga
that's
for
awesome.
older people. And
Yeah.
it stretches them out and they get taller.
That's amazing.
She's like, I saw it. And my brother had offered to take her to all our classes. And
That's cool.
yeah, so my grandma's a huge, like, I look to her for, like, she's always been that person.
That's
like
cool.
my dad, sure. But like my
Right.
grandma has always been like, she just has so much love to give.
That's cool.
And I'm blunt and straightforward and I'm harsh sometimes, and I do have that RBF, that resting bitch face.
Taking pictures of that, and then you also told me you'd murder me today.
Well, you keep doing that thing.
It gets me hyped up.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Makes my blood boil.
Damn it.
But I don't know. I want to be able to give that much love. I don't think it's physically possible for me to do that as much as my grandma's done it, but it's something to strive for.
Is she always like real happy and positive?
Yeah. And she does not talk bad about a single person. I've only seen her do it once. And boy, did that make me laugh. But she's such a positive person. All she wants to do is spread love and caringness and being a better person. And like, not that she makes me feel bad, but like, I think everybody could, have that one person that does that. And that's my grandma.
Cool.
That's right.
Sick.
Any other questions over there, Andrew?
I got one pretty heavy question. This could be its own whole nother podcast, but we had somebody listening saying that they're really unmotivated because when you were talking about like trying to gain weight for this meet coming up, they're having a hard time just eating in general because they lost both their parents to cancer. So a couple of people in the chat room were saying like it's a mental thing, like, but she's just like, I have zero drive to eat. My family wants me to eat, but it's just not there. So I'm like, I don't even know how I can answer that.
Yeah, there's there's times in your life when things are going to be really hard, and I think it's okay. It's okay for things to be hard. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be pissed. It's okay to have just everyone mourns differently, and it really highly depends on how close you were to those people, and there's so many different factors that go into all that. The main things, like food is one thing, but the main things are that you are trying to stay away from bad habits. And bad habits, by bad habits I mean like dangerous habits, like if you ever had a drug addiction, or if you ever had a problem with alcohol. Those are the things that you really want to be paying attention to. Your food, I wouldn't be that worried about it. Now, if you're trying to figure out how the hell do I get back on the right track, and it's been a few months since they passed, people don't do this enough, but you can go and get help. You can see a psychiatrist, and if the first person that you go to sucks, go to another one.
Your first session is free.
Yeah.
So if they're like a legit psychologist, your first is free.
Yeah. Yeah, or kick around the idea or concept of, if you're religious at all, maybe go to a church, talk to a minister or pastor. Like, it might be a good idea to try to bring somebody else in to talk to about this. It's really brave of them to ask the question here on the podcast.
Right.
And I appreciate that they are kind of looking to us for answers. That's really cool. But when you go and see a psychiatrist and when you go get help from somebody, a lot of times the simple act of you saying things out loud helps you anyway. So they don't even really need to do that much. But the fact that you're making these statements and you're saying, hey, look, this is what happened to me, and I'm really broken up about it, and I can't eat. I'm not functioning really well. I'm not doing well at work, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. And by you just making that statement and putting that out there into somebody else's hands, things will start to make a lot more sense. In terms of like trying to figure out the food thing and trying to figure out, you want to just stick to things that you've been comfortable with for a really long time. Obviously, the healthier, the better. But I would say, man, you know what? Just don't really worry about it that much.
I don't like, this might sound really harsh, but if your parents were here, what would they say?
Right.
Like, that sounds really fucking aggressive for like the fact that you just lost your parents. But if they were sitting there, what would they do? What would they say? They would want you to be healthier.
Yeah, to nourish yourself.
They don't want you to like fade away.
Right. No, that's well said. When it comes to like seeing a psychiatrist or somebody, how important do you think it is to be inclusive with like your family?
I think this would be very individual, But if you have a significant other, that's the first person you should communicate with. It sounds like their friends are involved a little bit already. when you eat foods that aren't healthy for you, there's some major problems with it. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life or what's not going on in your life, but they can kind of trick you about your appetite. Your appetite will grow stronger when you eat foods that are nutritious for you and digest easily.
Mm-hmm.
So if you eat once a day and just have pizza or just like a burrito or something,
Mm-hmm.
The odds of you feeling like you want to eat again, you go to Black Bear Diner, you go to these
Mhm.
kind of easy to eat places.
You eat one meal and then you're done.
Yeah, you're not hungry anymore.
It's an
So,
awful feeling.
yeah, all that kind of stuff would be out the window. I would suggest that they check out Operation Get Less Fatterist, which is a Facebook thread.
I have
Mhm.
to say, it has kind of flourished itself. Mark
Nice.
puts out stuff, but it is really self-sufficient.
That's
Mhm.
great.
Like, people are in there they say, I'm having a hard day. Everybody's in there jumping in,
Positive.
giving positivity, motivation. Or they just say, hey, this is my daily win. This is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, that's sick. Or people
Right.
are sharing their progress photos.
Mm-hmm.
Little things like that. Because if you don't feel like you're alone, you're more apt to.
That's the whole point in doing it. I said, you know
Mhm.
what, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this together going into and going through the holidays. And as I mentioned before, the diet is not really much of a diet right now. It's just a list of foods and some suggestions. I want you to eat more often. I want you to go on 10-minute walks. It's all stuff that's just very, very easy for people to do. The food options are pretty wide, but things will tighten up as we go along, and it will actually turn into something where you're actually going to lose weight going into the holidays. But the other option too is, like, let's not forget, you can pay people to help you with stuff. I mentioned the psychiatrist, but Jess mentioned she has a nutritionist. There's people that do these things professionally, and so
Mm-hmm.
you may want to try to consult somebody. She went through hybrid performance. Maybe you connect better with a different person or whatever. Find somebody that you think could really help you with your food.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, too, when I was first depressed and super anxious, I actually, with the help of Emma, she got me to go to a doctor, and I actually got on antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. And then when I started actually figuring out what I needed to nourish my body
Mm-hmm.
and to actually go work out and do things, I stopped taking them. But that was only because with the help of Mark and Team ST, it's like a family out there. Everyone's
Mhm.
super supportive, and they just, except yesterday, I was mad at everybody, but it's a team, it's a family, and everybody helped me, and I stopped taking my meds. I didn't need to take them anymore. I got my shit on lock.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I comes unhinged every once in a
Yeah.
while, but
That's great.
And kind of on that same note, along the lines of, like, us being a team, communication is crucial. And so,
Mhm.
like, if you did get frustrated at a particular workout, sometimes there's multiple things that can happen. Sometimes you have a shitty workout and you're frustrated at everybody else. Sometimes not everybody's there to help you and you're kind of frustrated by the situation. But you can also tell everybody, you can say, hey, you know what? I got a really important lift to do. I'm going to do it like this time, and I need you to be there. Can you be there? You check in with people, and then if they're not there, of course, you got every right to be super frustrated. If you told them, but if you didn't tell them, then maybe you can't. Maybe you don't have a
Mhm.
leg to stand on. I used to do that a lot when I was, lifting in gear because,
you do need help.
yeah, you need a lot of, yeah, you
You
need a lot of,
can't gear live by yourself.
yeah, you need a lot of support and a lot of help. And then I'd be like, it would be great if we had 2 or 3 more people here. And that was a learning process for me. I'm like, all I got to do is tell people.
Yeah, Marcus doesn't do it, but I do it for him. When he has a big squat,
Mhm.
I think that's another reason why he moved it to Tuesdays. But we need people here to spot and load
Mhm.
and help. That's a lot of weight, and you can't be squatting 800 pounds by yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
you can, but it's stupid.
Mhm.
And you shouldn't, especially if you have a team. So if you just tell people, hey, can you stick around? They most likely will. And so I've been doing that for him. Well, I was doing it for him until he moved it to Tuesdays.
I remember, we've had these different situations that have happened here at Super Training and at Slingshot. And I remember it was probably just 2 or 3 months ago. Andy and I, like, obviously I share stuff with Jessica. She posts a lot of stuff on my social media and stuff like that. But we just send her messages sometimes. We just send her a picture, or like I do that a lot with people in here. I'll do like a voice message, or almost everyone has gotten some of those. But like I'm like, oh well, this is like I'm just as I'm like out doing something fun with Andy, I'll just send you a picture. And sometimes it's like, hey, can you post this? Sometimes it's just like, I know it's going to make you happy, and so I'll just send you something. But this one time in particular, Andy and I were in Bodega Bay, and Jessica's been working her butt off for us, and we've done this a lot of times with a lot of other employees. Just called you up and said, you got a raise. We love you. You're kicking ass for us. We really appreciate you. And, it's just fun, and there's Jessica bawling. She's super pumped. She's super excited. And it just makes you feel good. And so that's what a lot of this stuff is all about. That's how we're able to move forward. That's how we're able to execute on a level that we're able to execute. And that's how you end up with employees that are here from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night.
They just want to work. They want to work for you because you work for them.
Right.
I stick my neck out for Mark because I know he'll do it for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get to see that side. They just think, oh.
People just think I'm a money hungry son of a bitch.
Yeah, all they think, oh,
Yeah.
I don't even want to get me started on it. But yeah, people just think that you're all about money and you're not humble and you need to eat humble pie and you're a cocky SOB and all this
People
stuff.
really think I'm self-centered, crazy bastard.
It is wild, but also but then it would, like we talked about earlier, would seem so fabricated and so fake if we went out of our way to say,
He's the humanitarian of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, when he got his new place, Mark got him this big ass TV for his family.
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but like we actually had to have like another person bring their car because it wouldn't fit in his. It was too big.
Yeah. And it's funny because like I wanted to post that like on my Instagram and being like, hey, everyone step your fucking game up because this is the first housewarming gift I got from Mark and it's a big ass TV. But then I'd be like, I don't know.
Can't even share the level of generosity that Andy and Mark have both shown me in the last 2 years. Like I literally, I would cry my eyes out, so I'm not going to do it. I refuse to do it. But I have to say that I can tell you, like in my heart, my soul, that no one that I could ever work for would do what Mark and Andy have done for me. And I don't need to share that for it to be true. So I'll just say that and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes wish that there's other things that I could share, because like social media is fun. But as I'm going through this process, and growing and, gaining more maturity, like you just constantly do that as you get older. You just you learn more about yourself and what you like and what you don't like, and you get more comfortable with things. As I'm kind of going through that process, I'm like, man, like it'd be so cool to share some of these things on social media. It'd be great for people to see all these different kind of components, these different things that my son does or these different things my daughter does, and how happy it makes me and how proud I am of them and these different. Then I'm like, actually, you know what? Like, unfortunately, like that doesn't belong on social media. That's special for me. That stuff's for me. That stuff's for me and my dad. That stuff for me and my wife, and the stuff for me and my dad that are so important to me, that make me feel so good. Yes, I am bursting and I do want to share it with everybody, and I want to run out and be like, my daughter and my son are the coolest fucking things that ever happened to me. They're the coolest things I've ever done. But it's too weird to share.
It's vulnerable.
Yeah, that too.
Like,
yeah,
Quinn, she's not into like fitness right now, but that girl can draw.
Yeah,
and Mark knows that, and he cried the first time that you got that shirt that she. Yeah,
nice.
And it was so sweet, but it was so real, and we didn't put that anywhere.
Right.
But Quinn can draw her little butt off, and Jake, he wants to film stuff.
Jake News.
Yeah.
He's got crazy facts, and it seems like he loves to shoot shit. So I don't know where all that will go.
Yeah.
But it's amazing when you see your kid find something that they love to do. It's I don't know. It's hard to describe unless you have your own kid, unless you have your own child and see them go through the process. But with a kid, you try to you throw them like an instrument. And you're like, oh, okay,
No,
well,
thanks.
they're playing piano or they're doing whatever, right? And then they don't like it or whatever. All right, well, here's a pen and some paper, and they draw, and they maybe don't like it, right? And you watch them kind of go through this process, and you give them books, and they fall out of favor with liking to read, and you give them a baseball and a baseball bat, and they,
Say nope.
maybe they like it for a year, and then they don't like it. It's fine. Kids change their mind nonstop, right? They know what they like and they know what they don't like, and they're going to keep changing and keep moving into different things. But when they land on something, you're like, oh my God, this is really, really awesome. And, with my daughter, like the reason why I made those shirts and different things is like, I wanted to make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
This is really cool. She, has a unique ability. How unique is it and how strong will it be or develop? I have no idea. Maybe the drawings she's done so far, maybe they're the last drawings she ever does. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she doesn't want to do a lot more of them, but
She knows her dad supported her.
yeah, you just celebrate
it.
those things,
Yeah. Rosemary said she didn't write the note on your thing.
Gosh, who did it? I don't know, because Smokey doesn't have nice handwriting like that.
Chris-
I know Marcus is like a Neanderthal writes.
Chris has good handwriting.
Griffey, he'd never.
Oh, Griff. Maybe Mariel? But that's like not Mariel's handwriting. Mariel has real nice handwriting, though.
Emma?
I don't think Emma would. No, and that's not Emma's handwriting either. I want to know who did it.
Does it have a left-handed person tilt to it?
Is it you?
Oh, please.
Okay.
Come on.
It looks like something that I would write, but I really didn't write it, so.
I was going to say, you're the only person I could think of. Like, I can't scribble correctly, so that's why I picked up a camera.
Unless it was like someone from Team ST, which is possible.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the time we got for today, ladies and gentlemen. We probably went over 2 hours on this one. We were chatting. We were chatting up a storm. Right, Andrew?
2.5 hours.
Oh, my God.
Whoa.
We left out all the best parts.
But,
you want to start over?
Yeah.
Well, I will say
What's
that.
your name?
out of everyone in every podcast, Smokey has never been this active on any of them.
I knew it.
Number one fan.
Yeah.
He's the worst. All of our stuff at markbellslingshot.com. All of our lifting gear is IPF approved for 2019.
Ayo.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to get sound effects. Go over there and check out all that stuff. And I think if you type in Power Project, you get like 20% off or 15% off.
15% off any and all slingshots at checkout.
Slingshots are not IPF approved, everybody.
But you can't cheat that bad.
Not yet.
They're SPF approved.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Where can people find you, Jessica?
At Jessica_Smith on Instagram. Or, just hit up MB or Mark. Or...
Single.
Oh, God. Here we go.
DMs left and right.
Boys and girls. Strength is never weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch you guys later.
Bye.